Hey man, you're still muted.
Yo, what's up,
Your
Arno?
nose is bleeding, bro.
Awesome. My kids bought these crisps or chips, whatever, like depends on what English you have. And they're peanut butter, salted caramel, sweet flavored. It's the most haram thing I've ever
Yeah,
tasted.
dude, what? You're like, that's not even a real flavor. Like that has
No,
most
it's like
toxic
everything.
chemicals ever.
The worst. Like I tasted it, and it took me like it takes your brain a few seconds to get used to it. It's so bad. It's horrible. It's like mashed potatoes and sprouts in chip form. Don't do that.
Yeah, so I just want to go over just a lot of different things. But I mean, if you guys have like email, like cold outreach templates you want to look at, let's break them down. If you have like an email that you made, let's show you me and Arno's thought process of like what we're looking at when we're reading it. I mean, honestly, anything, and then that will kind of just like spawn different topics, I believe. So, Arno, did you get in a fight?
Me?
Yeah, you have like blood like right here.
Yeah, my yeah, it's funny. My I always fight my kids. And well, with gloves, right? We spar. We don't really fight because I'd win. I'd kill him. But I fight my girl as well every now and then. And today, like I wasn't paying attention, and she hit me like right in the nose, like bam. And then my nose was all bloody. She was all proud. I was sort of proud as well. So yeah, that's my story of shame.
This is on a recording. It's like Arno got beat up by a girl.
By a girl. Yeah.
We're gonna clip it and expose you to the whole Twitter space.
Yeah, put it on TikTok, and he's really a pussy. But it's
Arno
right on the
goes
nose, like bam, like you see the stars, and it's it's a special feeling.
Imagine that's what you go viral for. I think your girl's like super happy.
Yeah, it's
Like,
not. It's still
the
not
one
as
thing you went
bad.
viral for was because of me.
Do you know the True Geordie guy?
That sounds familiar. I don't know who it is though.
Yeah, it's he has a YouTube channel, and he called out Tate at one point, and then news broke not long after that he was texting Instagram models, and he was texting them basically like I love it when girls peg me and then fuck me in the ass and lick up the ass juice, and like it was horrible, like absolutely despicable. And the guy did a video after it, and he admitted to everything. Like he basically said, yeah, I'm a bit of a weird guy with sex as well. Like, and the guy is still on YouTube. Like that's the weird thing, right? You would assume that people would just, if someone says, I love it when you lick off my ass juice, well, that should be the end of you, but it isn't. Like, yeah.
I feel like the fact that he owned it was like a little bit better. If he tried to like hide it or be like, no, like I think the fact that he owned it, it's kind of like that video with the anime guy that like Tate watched on the emergency meeting. How like everyone's like, what? Why is Tate endorsing this? I'm like, bro, Tate's not endorsing it. He's endorsing the fact that the dude didn't give a shit. Like he was weird about it, and then he owned it, and he schooled that fucking anime girl, dude.
It's true. Yeah,
I mean,
but
so,
that's like
that's
still leagues away from DMing Instagram girls wanting them to lick your ass juice or their ass juice, whatever. It was bad. It was bad. Like holy shit.
That's crazy. Yeah, bro. I don't know why people keep trying to come at Tate. It's like every time that's happened, someone gets like annihilated.
Yeah,
I'm like, do you guys not learn like not to mess like the one person's not messed with on the internet, and you guys do it, and then you get
like taking on Mike Tyson in his prime. Like you're gonna die, and it won't be pretty. The guy will destroy you.
Fucking hell, dude. All right, let's look at your thing, Ricardo.
I have no idea how to ping everyone. I think invite students, but apparently that doesn't work.
Oh, I think it's at experienced students.
Yeah, I tried that as well, but that doesn't ring a bell. Wait. Maybe Andrew used it before. No, he just uses students.
Yeah, I think it works. Oh, maybe that one didn't work. No, it didn't work. All right, cool. Yeah, so I mean, this one's okay. I like the Muslim slash over 30,000 on their tax bill. Oil and secrets entrepreneurs are using it is like it's vague what you mean by combat the IRS. Sorry, my camera's lagging. I'm just gonna turn it off. Yeah, so I would say like the main issue I see with it is just like, what do you mean by combat the IRS? It's kind of vague what you mean by that, and it's hard to. Well, I guess you did say entrepreneurs. Hundreds of entrepreneurs are hidden tax secrets by using these tax strategies. Hundreds of entrepreneurs are unlocking hidden tax secrets by using these.
I don't know if any entrepreneur is looking to combat the IRS. That's not a good plan in general. Don't do that. It's like,
yeah, I think that's the other thing. It's like you're
saying it's like combating Mike Tyson.
IRS.
Don't do that. You're gonna get wrecked.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing is you're making it sound like a fight against the IRS, and nobody wants to really fight them. But maybe if you say like you could try like a legal loophole, or I don't know if loophole would be a good word either.
But what they're trying to do is pay less taxes. No one is trying to fight the IRS unless you're retarded. Well, it's just true. Like you have to be fucking stupid to do that. So I mean, unless like chairman of the Dutch Libertarian political party, and he was the guy saying, yeah, taxation is theft and the government, and then he went to jail for tax evasion. The government fucked him over, of course. That's what they do. But unless you're that guy, which most entrepreneurs aren't, it probably makes a lot of sense to say, to move the subhead, which is like the 30,000 on the tax bill, to move that to the headline, probably, because that's what we're trying to do. I'm not trying to fight the IRS. I'm trying to
like the little known secrets. Entrepreneurs are using the slash over $30,000 on their tax bill. Like that's simple.
That'd be better.
You know? Because yeah, combat sounds like a fight, and yeah, people think of fighting the government with going to jail.
Yeah, that's true. They'll kill you, or they'll put you in jail. Yeah. What a funny client, though.
I would say like hundreds of entrepreneurs are unlocking. This is part of like this part right here. I'd say like hundreds of entrepreneurs are unlocking hidden tax loopholes, or legal hidden tax loopholes by using these. I would be more specific. So I think when you just say loopholes and it lacks a little bit of specificity by just saying these tax strategies, like, well, how? I think if you ask the guy what is the general premise behind it, you know, it could be like the monopoly clause or some shit. You know, it gives understanding of like, okay, this isn't just some BS. It has a little bit more specificity behind it. And then in terms of like making headlines, let me pull up my sticky note. I have a sticky note with like, I just made a tweet about this. Yes, and steps that I'd look for is like a checklist that I got from Stefan Georgi. You don't need every piece. It's not like a checklist where like you check each one and it needs to have every piece. It's just elements that are typically found in good headlines. So step one is it has curiosity. Step two is it calls out a pain point or it talks about a specific benefit. 3, it promises a solution. 4, it has specificity. So for example, specificity, you could just say there's that ad about like the one-legged golfer versus just talking about how a golfer use this strategy to whatever. It's like, no, the one-legged golfer or the West African tea, that the West African red tea that did, it could have just said red tea, but they said like West African.
One-legged is so awesome, right? Can you imagine a one-legged dude playing
dude
golf?
Yeah, that was like the most beast awesome ever, dude.
Guy would tip over.
Dude, that was such a good ad. Oh my god.
Yeah.
And then simplicity is really key, right? Some people try to make way too complex, and they also like making the headline simple, but also the solution needs to sound simple. It can't sound like some crazy astrophysics shit. It needs to be like a simple 30-second routine or like a 30-minute workout or like something that's like really easy. That's why you see a lot of these like 30-second tricks or like a little hack that you do that takes you like a minute. It's all simple shit. How
this ugly midget attracts hot women within 30 seconds of entering the bar. Yeah.
Exactly. And then credibility is good. So if you don't have credibility, you could use like, you know, more than 100 entrepreneurs have used this little known loophole, or be more specific with it. So say more than 121 or 123 or whatever entrepreneurs. And then I like to use without statements and even if statements. So for me, I'll say like, if we're talking about like dieting, it's like how to lose weight without, restrictive diets, without pounding the pavements for hours a day, and without using a wacky new diet or some shit. Like that's how I use without statements. And I also like to use even if statements. So I'll say like, even if you've tried every diet on the block, and even if you've done da da da, and even if you've done this. And then the last thing is time frame to results. Now, again, not like I said, not all of these are necessary. They're just things that I like to have when I'm writing something. So time frame could be like, how long does it take to get the time frame of the result? So in the golf one, it says like almost overnight. It doesn't say overnight, it says almost overnight. Or you say in just 14 days or in just 48 hours or like whatever it is. Now this one you probably couldn't use that time frame, but so this is one that I took from, I think it was like a Dan Kennedy ad that I rewrote. So I just did like how 224 half illiterate people use this proven reverse attraction system to write simple 200-word ads that keep your readers spellbound and begging to pay any price you demand. Simple, easy to follow templates that are proven to skyrocket conversions, sales, and your business by 335% in just 30 days without blowing thousands on testing. I should have said like testing ads, without typing till your fingers bleeding, without selling your soul for sales. So you can see how there's like curiosity, because I'm like, well, fucking half illiterate people. That's also specificity. There's like the reverse attraction system.
Half illiterate. Can you just read half of the words?
Dude, I don't even know what I meant by that. I just did it really fast. He basically said, what he said in the ad was, even if you only know how to like write a grocery list or some shit like that. Yeah. I don't know. He said something like that. It was like, he basically talked about their IQ level, like with the level of like writing a grocery list. I thought it was genius. But yeah, so that's like, you can see how there's levels, and you don't need everything, but if you look at most ads, they have the key element that I start with every ad that I tell everybody is you want to have what I call the core idea. The core idea is always going to be curiosity plus benefit or pain point. That's like the core. So you need to figure out like what's curiosity driven about your ad, or sorry, your sales page. So it could be like the unique mechanism plus benefit, or the unique mechanism of the problem plus the benefit. It could be something curious about the solution, or pain point, talking about alleviating pain points. All these things are like, you need to have the core idea. That's like the basic that you need to have in every headline. And then these other layers are basically like the seasonings that you put on. Now, when you're making like something in the kitchen, you don't always use salt, pepper, chili powder, all these other things. You only use some mixed with other ones. So therefore, you're not going to use every single spice in the cabinet. You're just going to pick specific ones that go with that specific meal. And that's kind of how I think of it when I'm doing this. I'm not going to try and add every spice in there. I'm going to pick specific ones that make sense for that ad. But the core idea is really important. And typically I'll try and make 3 or 4 different core ideas, and then I'll kind of add different elements in there, and I'll try and test all of them, or test one. If it doesn't do well, I'll do another one. So they're all just like different angles. And if you're wondering what the unique mechanism of the problem is, or unique mechanism of solution, basically the way that I write sales pages, and I kind of heard this from Stefan, is every really good every really good sales page typically has what's called like the unique mechanism of the problem. It's like, okay, the prospect has been going through their life. They kind of got it down, but they're still not there yet. What is the unique thing that's holding them back from getting that result? And it has to be unique. It can't just be like, oh, it's like, it can't just be simple. It has to be something that's like, cool, you've tried all these other solutions that didn't work because of this specific problem. But if you can solve that problem, then everything will be changed. So if you can call out what that problem is and explain it to them in a way where they understand and accept that, then when you provide them with a solution, which is your unique solution for solving that problem, they're more likely to accept it because you showed them that what you've been doing has been working because of this specific reason. So for example, in like one of the ads, one of the sales pages I'm making for my trading client, a lot of people have problems with, they use strategies that have like technical analysis and indicators. And I always say that like technical analysis and indicators are great when you're doing them on a clear mind, right? When you're back testing and you're looking at historical data, it's really easy to apply these strategies because your mind is really clear. But when you're in the live markets and you have like fear of losing money and you have greed and you have like your daily emotions and all these things that distract you, it's really hard to actually implement the strategy like properly because your mind is like you have subjective bias, which is causing you to make errors. So if you can find a strategy that's error free, it's very simple. You see X, you do Y. You see Y, you do Z. That's basically what the whole premise of my sales page is. It's like that error free trading strategy that removes emotions and the need for self-sabotage or the ability for self-sabotage. So it's basically like the whole premise of my sales page. And that doesn't mean it's going to work. If it doesn't work, then I'll find a new angle. And that's basically what marketing is you're trying to test different angles. You're trying new things all the time. And people forget that some of the best marketers in the world, like the big names that you know all the time, they only wrote 2 or 3 out of 5 winning promos. They didn't write a winning promo every time. You just didn't hear about it. You only heard about the big ones. So don't forget that everything is testing. You're not going to always get it right. You have to keep testing new things. So, but yeah, I mean, that's what I would change some of those things on this. Everything else is good. I like the layout. I don't know if you built this page yourself, but I definitely like this layout. It's pretty clean looking.
Are we taking like questions in the chat or in the Discord?
Yeah, we
What
can
are
do
we doing?
chat too. I mean, it'd be easier if you just came on the mic. But yeah, I'll check chat too. I haven't been looking. What did you miss, bro? Come on, man. I just went through all that.
He's turning you into Joe Biden. Come on, man.
Do we
Yeah,
answer?
who has questions? I mean, guys, this is the time to post your outreach method. The only people that are going to see it are other G's in the experience chat, and none of us are going to jack your fucking message. So
We might share it though. I mean, you've already said that you're going to share it.
yeah, with the experience chat, but the point is people in experience chat typically aren't going to steal your shit. And if they are,
you're going to share the fact that I was hit in the face by my girl. So
well, yeah, I'm going to clip that and
of course
share to everyone. Yeah. Have Ace share it to the announcements.
Yeah. That would be awesome. But we have I think we have Yusuf.
Yeah, it's only experience chat. No one only experience chat are going to be in here, so you can know that most people aren't going to copy your sales message. And even if they do, I mean, what are there like a few people in experience chat that might do that? Like, who cares? But this is really how you're going to crank everything you're doing, because I'm sure there's a lot of things you're doing that really need to be fixed.
All right.
Go ahead, man, Yusuf.
Yeah. So Chief, you were just talking about like, as a marketer, you got to test the angle. Like, how long would you guys recommend to test a campaign?
How long is not the right question.
You wouldn't give it a time frame?
No, of course not. It depends on the traffic.
Okay.
Like, how long would you hold to boiling hot water?
No, absolutely. No, I get your point. I get your point, Arno. I was just thinking, like, from a standpoint, if you would just organic traffic, where you like with paid traffic, you got constant flow, but with organic, it's like more random. So that's why I was thinking of time frame wise.
No, you should look at it from a statistical significance standpoint. Like I'm borderline retarded in math, but I figured out statistical significance in the sense that if you put a certain amount of people through a funnel, then there's like calculators on the internet, luckily, because fuck if I know. But if you put, I don't know, 400 people through a process or something, it's more like all the retards in intermediate, in beginner, but intermediate, because it's infested with retards as well. You have all these people saying, yeah, oh my God, I sent this message to 7 people, no one responded. Like, I mean, I just want to punch them in the face. Like, you fucking idiot. 7 people is nothing. Absolute fucking moron. But yeah, that's my
I like your frustration now. I think you built up so much on the AMA yesterday that you're like letting it out now. You're like, oh, it's only experienced people now. I can let it all out.
Holy shit. Are you retarded? It's low IQ stuff. But I mean, to answer, like, for my contribution to the question is basically look at, like, from what point on would you say that I have a decent like size of sample size, right? That's what I would do. And if it's low traffic, well, it's going to take you a while. If it's high
Mhm.
traffic, well, you're going to know pretty quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, I would
Makes
say depending on how much traffic you have. If you have like a lot of traffic, like yeah, let like 1,000 people run through. But if you have like lower traffic and just do like 400 or 500 people, and you should even 400, you should know based on the conversion rate.
Yeah, but
Like
don't even
Ricardo
before.
was asking me about this earlier, and he was like telling me his conversion rate on his opt-in page was like 9%. I was like, bro, that's really, really low.
That's bad.
You know,
But you say don't even judge it
at
before
least 40,
500.
at least 40, 50% on.
Yeah.
I mean, I got like 80% on one of mine, 70, 80%, but that's an opt-in. That's not a sales page. So
So
sales
your
page.
grinder profile probably, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. So yeah, basically, yeah, I mean, bro, it just matters about data, honestly. Like you need data. And then if it's like a sales page, I mean, I don't know, 5-6% is pretty decent conversion rate.
Okay.
I mean, if you get 10%, that'd be amazing.
Mhm.
But it depends on the product price too, you know. I mean, there's a lot of factors. But you'll know. I mean, just look at the sales, look at how much money you're putting into it. If you're not putting money into it, then great. But yeah.
Got it.
Testing is one of those things that's hard, man. It's one of those things that isn't really teached as much in Hustlers University, and that's why I think it's a lot better for people to stick to emails, because you have so many iterations of emails. So even if you write like 20 emails a month, even if 5 or 6 of them aren't that good, you're not really going to notice that much. Whereas like if a sales page blows, you might have to test a new one, and it takes forever to write that. You don't really know what's causing it to be low. It could be like hundreds of factors. It's just, you got to learn conversion rate optimization, which really is a hard skill to learn. I don't think you should really do it unless you're in the war room, or yeah, once you've passed a certain point, I don't think it's worth you doing that type of data stuff, because it's just really intensive.
You know what's weird? I noticed this today when I was going over questions from beginner chat, intermediate chat, and a lot of people get hung up on, like, let's find YouTubers with, I don't know, 500,000 audience, blah blah, and then they run into the issue that these people get approached all the time because, you know, you're only reaching low hanging fruit, so of course these people get approached all the time. And I mean, it's like a typical Amsterdam whore. She's going to see a lot of people on general, like, and you're not going to stand out probably, right? And what's weird to me is that, like, we are all in different places in the world. I don't understand why people insist on competing with, like, not only every other student, but also every other copywriter in general, and taking these low hanging fruit people. Like, I could go, let's say, you give me the challenge for July or something to sign up new clients. I mean, I'd probably make it easy on myself, because that's what I usually do. And I go to, I don't know, the first, I'd scrape somewhere the first 500 Dutch plastic surgeons, or the first 1,000 real estate agents international that I can find. And I'd approach those people saying, hey, I help you guys, plastic surgeons, real estate, whatever, make more money. And I write for you guys for a living. I noticed your site. It's great. I think we can do even better. Would you be interested in hopping on a call? And I mean, I can damn near guarantee you that I'll do very well. And I'm not competing with everyone else in the world, which is dumb. It's like it's similar to Germany. Like, the problem with Germany is that in the First World War, they decided to declare war on the world. That's not smart. And then a couple of years later, they declare war again on the world. It's just dumb. Like, don't do that. That's just stupid. Why would you do that? Just pick, do it like Putin does with some shit country and just invade it and then do whatever you need to do. Don't do it with the world. That's not smart. So that's my contribution. Don't be like Germany.
Damn, I guess we're glad that you weren't around then, because they maybe would have conquered the world slowly by one.
Yeah, one by one. Like that would be much smarter, right?
By the way, Arno, I'm from Germany, bro.
Yeah. We're neighbors. Yeah.
I know.
Do you have a Turkish background?
Yeah.
Yeah, I recognize the name and the writing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Turkish
the
people there,
typical
right?
German face.
Yeah. No, I mean, but it's just dumb. Even when you're, you being a German, don't declare war on the world. That's not good.
No, I mean, look, man. Like since that shit, man, they don't have national pride anymore. Like,
yeah, it wasn't a smart, and they did it twice in a row. Don't do that.
Yeah. When I lived in America, everyone was teasing me.
First time,
Like-
it's a mistake. Second time, it's just dumb. So
Mhm.
What's good, Steven? Yeah, so man, I forget, somebody was gonna say something.
but like despite the
What you were
lesson-
saying, yeah. No,
Yeah,
you
the-
were talking about like getting clients. Yeah, no, I agree,
Yeah.
man, about that's what I was gonna comment on. Yeah, just
Make
like
it
getting
easy, man.
clients in places that are easier. I think the reason that people don't is because a lot of these other clients don't have a lot of revenue coming in. And so they would have to kind of come in and do everything, or they don't really have an email list. And so a lot of them are trying to just find people that have an email list.
Yeah, that's retarded. Like I see so many people offering, I wrote you 3 emails, and then the guy doesn't have an email list. That's like offering like a dude without legs shoes. That's not smart. Don't do that. It's insulting.
Yo,
And
our
you don't know
analogies
what
are
to
on
do
point
with
today.
It's stupid. Like actually offer them something they can do something with. Like most take any high grossing profession. Take lawyers, surgeons, plastic surgeons, real estate agents, mortgage brokers. The list goes on. Like there's a long list of people. They make excellent money, trust me, and they have shit copy, and they could definitely benefit from a rewrite, or I don't know, maybe a lead magnet or whatever you're gonna be able to sell them. But don't offer them emails when they don't even do email. That's just dumb.
Yeah, I mean, how would you target them? Because in my mind, I tell people not to target those people, just because I feel like using a digital product is so much easier to sell. And
True.
I find that a lot of them, it's hard to write copy because it's not like they're really getting leads coming in online. A lot of it's from in person, or I mean,
Yeah,
like
like,
plastic
here's the
surgeon would
thing.
be easy, but
Here's
like
the thing, right? I was one of those people. Like I was a real estate guy, and I was also like a finances guy. I was a lot of guys in the past, and you're so caught up in your day-to-day life, like even a psychologist or whatever, right? You have your practice, and you're doing that all day. Somewhere in the back of your mind, like your website is absolute dog shit. You could do better, but it's just crap, and it's crap. But you're a chiropractor and you're cracking backs, or you're a dentist and you're drilling teeth and hurting people for fun. And it's just, I mean, that takes up all your time. It's annoying. And if someone would come by and be like 95 IQ plus, and be able to write like at least 4 or 5 words in succession in a nice manner, and he would say, "Hey man, I saw your website, it's great." And it's not great, but of course they're going to say it's great. And maybe we can do even better. And I reimagine some of your website stuff. What would you like me to send it over? Would you like to see my ideas? I would have said yes in a heartbeat. But it's hard to imagine when you're not one of those dudes. And we are very hung up on my copy needs to get leads. If you're one of these dudes, a lot of them don't even give a flying fuck about leads. You just want to look good to the outside. It's true. I swear to God.
Yeah.
Like most of these people don't give a rat's ass about leads. They just want, you know, to look better than their competition. And because if you look up like the first 10 chiropractor sites you can find, and I'll guarantee you, like none of them are getting leads, because it's all shit. All of them are crap in your direct surroundings.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean,
So-
honestly, bruh, I mean, even if you didn't do real estate, if you just did like plastic surgeons or other stuff like that, I mean, I would
Whatever
say
you
away from,
write
like,
is
I
gonna
would
be
say away from like
better.
restaurants, but yeah, these like service-based people that have a lot of money.
Yeah.
I think Jason Capital talks about this. He has a program where he like teaches people how to write emails for these people. But yeah, if you could help them like maybe change some things on their website and help them start building an email list.
Yeah, maybe. And
Like,
and by the way, some of them don't even want it. Like I sold to especially mortgage brokers, and whenever I started talking about the email list and lead magnet, their eyes just glazed over like a zombie, and then they just tune in whenever you stop talking about the lead magnets. They don't even want it. It's just no. Can you just rewrite the website, and that's fine.
interesting. That's so interesting.
Yeah, and
Because like,
sometimes
it's
you can
hard for
sell
me to
them
grasp because
Facebook
it's like I
ads.
can't be like, oh, well, this has got you this tangible result. So
Yeah.
I just don't imagine them wanting you to do it because it's like, well, there's no tangible result that you can like guarantee them.
But
or
that's the
show
whole
them.
thing. For them, the tangible result is the website rewrite. That's amazing. Like you're a genius. And you haven't been in that profession. You haven't been in those kinds of businesses. But these are people that pay $5, $10, $20,000 for a new logo. A fucking logo. You know, the little
That's so true.
it's retarded. It's retarded as fuck, but they do it and they're happy. It's insane.
Yeah, that's good.
So, and
Everyone
all of the
experienced
people
chat
are
is now
breaking
going to
their
start hitting
backs,
up. Yeah.
you know, trying to sell all kinds of hard shit. Well, you know, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah. I mean, I like doing digital products because they're just fucking easy. I'm used to them, but I think as long as you're doing one of the two, it's fine. But I do agree, like when I do digital products or like coaching packages, I'm not going for the people everyone's fucking hitting up.
True.
Like every time I hit someone up, they've never heard from anyone else before.
Yeah, and that's the whole idea, right? And then if you combine that with actually offering them something they want, so you know, the dude with no legs, you're not selling him shoes. Maybe you're I don't know, maybe you're selling him like maybe you're selling the midget how to look like a normal grown person shoes or something. I don't know. Something like that. But something they actually like.
Bro, you're
own.
obsessed with these midgets and no legs.
Midgets are just funny. You know, admit that they're funny just by existing. You know, they have this little child body and then the weird big head. That's just funny. Admit it.
Yeah.
You're like Andrew. I feel like a Luke right now. You're just like, admit it, Luke.
Yeah, it's true.
Luke, admit it.
You have to admit it. It's just funny.
All right, I admit it. I'm a brokey.
But would you say
Actually-
it's like the 80-20 rule that like 80% of the people here go to 20% of the people in the market?
Yeah, the Pareto principle always applies. It's either 80-20, 95-5, or 99-1.
Mhm. Can you say numbers again?
It's the Pareto principle, like the 80-20 principle.
Yeah, it was 80-20.
Yeah, but Pareto is the guy that sort of discovered it.
Okay.
So if you look up the book is Richard Koch, Koch, which is a
Mhm.
German name, I believe.
Yeah.
It's the 80-20 principle, and he talks about this. But the Pareto was a Italian economist that figured out that there's a law of the vital few and the trivial many, where 80% of the people contribute like 20% of the value, and 20% of the people contribute 80% of the value. And this is like almost a law of nature. But it's 80-20 or 95-5 or 99-1. It's a sort of fractal. And yes, I definitely agree. Like most people are not going to expend any brain calories. So maybe 5%. I don't know. I got the statistic from Ace recently. Have to look him up, but it was creep. You know, it was so close to 95.5 that it was creepy. Where of all of the like the 100 people in copywriting, like either one is inexperienced or five, but it's not like it's not 20 by any stretch of the imagination. Like most people don't make that at all. Like the competition is pretty. It seems like a big number. Competition is not that big.
Yeah. I think it's just like being creative with what you're doing. And yeah. So does anyone have like an outreach method they want us to look at? Like I said, don't be worried about no one jacking it. No one's gonna fucking steal it. It's only going to experience chat. I mean, you guys want to get better, right? If you're not getting clients, it's probably because your outreach method sucks. Let's be real. Or we can talk about an email, and I can show you how me and Arno look at like the lens that we're looking at when we're reading your email. Anything.
Yes, please. Do that. Do that, please. Thank you very much.
Okay, well,
What happened to you, man? You have a black eye.
Yeah, I got into a fight. So I mean,
With a girl?
no, with my father actually. So
Damn.
yeah,
Holy
went
shit,
outside
man.
for the first fight ever. So I mean,
Okay.
It was meant to be a fight, or like you guys got an argument?
got into an argument, and I was
Dang.
pissed. So I was like, all right, let's just go outside and get
Well,
this
is he still
handled.
Should've brought
alive?
the sword.
Oh yeah,
He
he's
wasn't
still-
intimidated.
he's still alive. Yeah,
Oh, that's
he's
good.
fine. Yeah.
Okay. Happy to hear that. Well, what did you want? What did you want us to do?
So
Oh, to review an email and
Yeah.
show like
yeah, like how
the lens we view an
Yeah.
email through, or like what we're looking at when we're first. I was just saying someone needs to give us an email, or we can go into the chat and just find someone.
Most of the emails in the chat are so bad.
Experience chat, bro. Experience chat.
Oh, okay.
I'm not gonna kill myself on this.
Does anyone remember I got the email that I got about the donuts? I got the worst email in the world, and the guy was serious. Like I thought he was trolling me, but he wasn't. It was something about Dunkin' Donuts. Holy shit! I need to find it. It was so bad. Shit. No, it was Krispy Kreme, and it was all about how if you wanted to be successful in life, you need to attend Krispy Kreme, and the donuts were creamy, and he made the Krispy Kreme, he made cream into like a verb, and, and he used it every 3 sentences. It was so bad, and I couldn't bring myself to critique it seriously. So now I have to find the thing, but it was awesome.
I think I've seen that Krispy Kreme.
It was amazing.
Yeah. It's like cream is life or something like that. Some bullshit.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it. In the meantime, Chief, feel free to be serious. So, it's so funny. Holy shit! Oh, I think I got it.
All right.
Can I share one sentence?
Oh yeah. You mean
Yeah,
to
from the Krispy Kreme. Here goes, right? Well, the subject line is Krispy Kreme is the best in the scene, but that's not even bad. Like that's probably the best part. But there's a sentence: "Are you fed up of not eating donuts that will make Homer Simpson cream?" And cream is KREME.
Dude, that's actually funny. What the hell?
So that's why I thought he was trolling me, but he wasn't. Like it was serious.
What was he trying to pitch you? What?
It was really. I think it was like trying to approach Krispy Kreme to write emails for them.
Wait, this was a student asking for feedback?
Yes. What?
Oh my god.
Every week, I now have a different donut, and trust me, I'll never ever get bored of the power of cream. It's so awful. But
It's funny as hell though. Like that's actually really funny.
Let's get,
Right.
let's
I'm
get to a
crying.
read email.
I'm crying right now.
Holy shit. All right,
Let's-
cool.
Let's do this email. Yeah, sure.
Oh yeah.
Arno, you need to share that in the chat.
Yeah, I will. Wait 1 second. I will.
But imagine if the guy like applies the creativity of the cream to like actual like reasonable.
Yeah, the actual copy. Yeah,
Prospects.
'cause some of that was good. Like the analogies.
like it takes some brain calories and it takes some creativity to come up with shit, so shame it
Oh,
was
maybe
Krispy Kreme.
Homer Simpson cream.
Where do you even get that from? I don't understand. It really makes zero sense. Like
It
what?
was awesome. Well, Homer is into donuts, right? So
Oh, okay.
I just shared them in the chat. So, but let's go over the email now. Sorry.
Nah, we're gonna have a good laugh, bro. Fuck that. All right, cool. So, is it possible to be a winning trader by sitting on the sidelines? So,
That's long.
yeah, I mean that's one thing. The other thing I'm thinking too is I try to avoid. I mean, this isn't too bad. It does have a good amount of intrigue because it's kind of like, well, can you win by not taking trades? Which is like a decent question. So it has a decent amount of intrigue. Is it possible to be a winning trader by sitting on the sidelines?
Could say how to make money by not trading.
Yeah, I prefer to not use questions. It's better to ask it in like the present tense or the active tense or where the hell the word is.
Maybe just say like how to win by sitting on the sidelines and then like ask that question in the first line or something.
Yeah, I like that question in the first line. Actually, that's really good. Because then also it doesn't really make sense because then you're like, aren't you tired of sitting on the sidelines watching it all? It's like, well, I thought you just said, I thought the whole question was about being able to sit on the sidelines and be a winning trader. So I don't know if everyone does this, but typically I don't like to. I see this a lot with like PAS emails where people kind of come out the gate. I give the analogy of as soon as you open the email, it's like they immediately like you open the door to the email and then it's like someone grabs your head and dunks you underwater. That's the analogy I use. A lot of you guys just like immediately jump right into this. It doesn't do it in this email, but I see it a lot where people just immediately like, don't you hate your life or just like stuff like that. I'm like, man, that's like really, I'm like, do I really want to read this depressing email? Like, how is this going to benefit me at all? So I don't like to start out like that. And this has like a little bit of erring on that side where it's like, aren't you tired of sitting on the sidelines watching in awe? It's not bad, but so aren't you tired of sitting on the sidelines watching in awe?
That doesn't really work. Watching in awe successful traders on Instagram.
Yeah, also that sentence makes no sense. But and the continuous profits they rake in, the $1,000s they spend on the most exclusive resort in whatever place that is. I would probably use a more well-known name.
The
Like
Seychelles. You don't know the
Cabo.
Seychelles, you peasant?
I'm a peasant.
The tropical island or a group of islands.
Yeah, or just say Cabo or some shit. The rich lifestyle they enjoy. Ryan, a student of mine, is on the verge of living that life. Okay, so as soon as I get to here, I'm like, okay, you haven't told me what's in it for me.
Yeah, you lost me, right?
In the first few lines. Like that's typically what I'm looking at as soon as that's like one of the first things I'm looking at is in the first part of the email is like what's in it for me. So that's like an immediate filter that I run. why am I reading this? Especially if it was a PAS, we're just going to talk about how everyone else is winning, and I'm like sitting on the sidelines, pissed off. And then you start talking about some other student. I'm like, why the fuck do I care about your other student? And it's hard to sometimes give feedback on certain things without just like telling you what to write. But as soon as I'm reading this, the first thing I think is it just lacks substance. And what I mean by that is it's just kind of, you're just kind of talking about stuff. There's no like real substance to the email. I don't really know how to explain that in the best way possible, but it's, I mean, when you just read this, you just think like, it doesn't feel like there's any emotion behind it or anything that you're really conveying to me. You're just kind of, there's no substance to it. It just kind of feels like, what am I even reading?
Yeah, it's like a McDonald's hamburger. Like you're eating, you know,
That's a good analogy. Yeah. Like it's,
You know,
you're
it has
eating stuff, but you're like,
actual-
there's no substance to this at
Yeah,
all.
there's
Like, what
nothing
even
really
am I
in it.
eating?
It's weird.
It's probably like a lack of research, right? And I feel like he doesn't understand these traders who are sitting on the sidelines. Well,
Yeah.
maybe we should have imagined the avatar more in front of him as he was writing this email to that specific person. Maybe he hasn't defined that person well enough.
Yeah. That's a
He
good. that's
does
good.
mention Cabo, by the way, down below.
Oh yeah, cool. So I don't know why he didn't say Cabo here. Let's go.
You're keeping me in suspense. What's further down? Does it get better?
Are you sick of sitting on the sidelines? Recently he reached out. And also it's like you still never like fulfilled on what you meant by sitting on the sidelines. Like, you haven't really told me that like sitting on the sidelines can actually be a really good thing. You just talked about how it could be a good thing and how sitting on the sidelines is like leaving people to make money, but you don't really fulfill on that at all. You don't really explain to me. You don't close the
Yeah.
gap.
It looked like he's trying to sell the dream without actually like teasing the mechanism
Yeah,
of how they can do
exactly.
it. Like it's
And I
just
see this a lot. It's what I call like cheap marketing, where everyone's just writing these very vague surface level topics about like, they're writing for like biz op offers, but they're doing it in the most like surface level way. Like, do you want to live the right life of freedom and have like nobody telling you what to do? Like, come do this thing and it'll be really great. It's like, yeah, they've heard that like 100 times. You still haven't really dug into the real problem. And for me, it sounds like you're trying to target trader, like specifically people that already trade, but maybe they're not winning yet or they're not doing well. So what would be better is to talk about like, it'd be better to talk about the subjective experience that the person is having every day. Like, do you feel like you're constantly entering trades every day and they just lose? And then kind of going into that experience and talking about like some of the most experienced traders actually know when to sit on the sidelines, because sometimes the best, this is probably not the best copy, I'm just saying what I'm thinking, but like some of the best traders sit on the sidelines because sometimes the best trades to take are no trades at all. Because like forcing trades usually leads to you taking unnecessary losses that actually lead to more money being lost. Whereas like capital preservation is like the number one key in all forms of trading. If you look at the best traders in the world, example, they focus on only entering trades that have a high probability of entering or have a high probability of winning. Think of it like a casino. If you knew that when you had a certain hand, it had a 70% odd of being a winner, well, then you would enter that. But when some hand, only has a 30% chance of winning, you don't enter. Like, that's just a fucking fast example, but it's more substance to it because you're actually like sharing things that they can actually understand instead of just like talking about this vague, like, do you want to go live on a vacation? Like, this stuff needs to go farther down. It's not bad to do this.
He doesn't make the traders feel understood.
Yeah.
So the lack of substance from like not explaining their experience and talking about like what you mean by this, and then doing this is what allows specific traders to continuously rake profits in while being able to travel to the best resorts and enjoying their life. Why? Because they are only entering trades that have a high probability of winning, which means they don't have to sit at the charts for hours every day. Like, that's just like an example.
But there's a lot of stuff there, right? I mean, if you scroll down, this is a long email.
No, this is another email, I think.
Oh,
No, this is one email.
But,
Oh,
but
maybe
I was wondering, where's the CTA? Like, I guess the how to succeed in trading that he's got underlined is the CTA.
I think he
but,
ran
like,
out of space.
No, no,
This
this
is
is part of
definitely
the
not the-
email. He just like bolded it.
Oh, this is
So
the
it's
same
like,
email.
yeah, so it's
I
like,
don't
will
know.
you be like
Oh.
Ryan and get in the game, or do you choose?
But the title is 2 emails.
Oh, so it is. Oh wow.
It's 2 emails, I think. But like the second one looks eerily similar to like a recent Tate email. I think Tate like recently sent out an email like, "Do you have a plan?" I think
Yeah, I was about to say the second one I like it better, but that's the reason.
it looks eerily similar. Like I swear to God, like Tate sent out a recent email like a week or less ago, like that literally said, "Do you have a plan?" Yeah, he did. Right? Wait, let me try it. I'm gonna try to go and find it.
Yeah.
Yeah, without a plan, you will never get rich. Yeah, that sounds like something Tate would say in an email.
I mean, I like
so.
that better.
Yeah. You need a plan, believe it or not. Professional and successful traders are not born as such. So like this one, it somewhat tells me what's in it for me pretty early on. Talks about how like professional traders. Well, this sentence is a little bit confusing, but
Yeah.
yeah, like without a plan, you'll never get rich. So it's hard to tell me a little bit about like what I'm gonna get out of reading this. Now, one thing I will say is like a lot of people, they read a lot of Tate's emails and try to write like Tate, which I think is a horrible idea for most audiences. Because Tate has a very unique personality, and also he writes very concise and very like to the point. Sometimes doesn't work very well in other niches. But you know Tate as being that person. Like in every video, he's very concise. You know him as being this expert with everything he says, and is very pinpoint. Like that might not work for your guru. You know, if people don't know your guru is that guy, it's not going to work. So like I like to look at Tate's emails when I'm trying to work on being very punchy and direct, but I don't use that stuff when in my own copy. I just use it as an exercise to learn how to write short copy and be very punchy, but I'm not going to like sit there and use it.
Yeah, so I brought up Tate's email. It's pretty much the exact same thing. He rewrote like some parts and then he implemented it into like trading a little bit, but it's basically the exact same thing.
Like I'm not against swiping. I'm not against using a template, rewriting it, etc. I do that all the time.
Yeah, it's I get the idea, but it's like for me it's like too similar.
Yeah, it has to fit, right? It's like me sort of copying some pickup artist line and going into the bar and doing it word for word. It won't really work because I'm not that dude.
Yeah. See, so I mean, the main things I'm looking at is just immediately like what's in it for me. This is okay. I don't really think this headline would really do well on most people's lists. Like a lot of you guys forget that Tate writes these emails because you've been on this list for a long time, and like it has a lot of intrigue. But on like most people's lists, like this isn't really going to do that well, because you got to remember that the reason people open this is they see Tate's name and then they see the headline or the subject line. Whereas like most of the people on your list, you haven't built up enough credibility with them yet to write these type of subject lines. And I do this like once a week, where I have like very vague intrigue. But typically my general formula is like the same thing as my headline formula, which is like curiosity plus benefit, or curiosity plus pain point, or curiosity plus something, where I combine those two, and that really helps me to make a good headline. Otherwise it's like, why do I want to read this? But anyway, so yeah, it's like you need a plan. Believe it or not, professional and successful traders are not born as such. Without a plan, you'll never get rich. That is true for anything. You don't get a muscular body by accident or luck. It doesn't just fall in your lap. So one of the things that I really like is, and obviously this is going off Tate's email, but I like when people make the connection between things. Like if you're talking about a specific lesson, having a connection in another field or making connection really clear for someone is also something that I think is really helpful. So I like to make clear connections in my emails. And the thing I look for is just like, does it flow well? Like, does it just read well in a way that it just has a good flow? It feels like a normal conversation. It doesn't feel like you're just smacking a bunch of sentences together, and then when you read it doesn't flow correctly. So that's like another thing I look for.
I mean, most copy can be improved 100% by just reading it out loud. That's it.
Yeah, that's too much work, Arno.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My bad.
How dare you ask me of the?
Hey, how do I get clients? How do I get clients?
Yeah. Yes.
Any
I don't know
tips?
if I said this in copywriting, but I
Thoughts?
said it somewhere where every week someone asks me, "Can you just send me my first client?" That's really funny. Yeah, sure, man.
Yeah, I'll email it to you.
Yeah, let me send it right over.
Or no, how many HU2 students have offered to like ghostwrite for you?
Surprisingly little. It's
Which is
weird.
dumb.
Yeah.
Now all
Like
the
it-
experienced guys are gonna hit you up.
maybe
Here we go.
3 or something, and that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's all of them.
Yeah,
It's weird.
okay.
I've been noticed that you're lacking in emails recently.
I can confirm nor deny that. That's true. Yeah.
That's hilarious. Dude, yeah, that's why like one time I posted how like all you guys that follow my Twitter and you're like, damn, it's really good. It's not even me half the time. I have like a dude who ghost writes my Twitter, but
Oh, cool.
but he's like a HU guy, and I just was talking about how like, damn, I wish I could post more on my Twitter. And then this dude like DM me, it's like, hey bro, do you need help with your Twitter? I was like, yeah, I do. But he just like hit me when I was a hot lead. Like he just waited till
Yeah,
I was
sure.
complaining about it. I'm like, this guy's fucking smart. Because I was like, right when I was bitching about it, he decided to hit me up. And I was like, damn, all right, cool. But most of my stuff I write myself now because it's hard for him to relay my experience level. But what I do is I get him to reply to people because one of the big ways to grow on Twitter is like replying to posts of like bigger people. So I get him to reply to like 20 to 30 people a day. So he just replies like meaningful comments, like he adds onto the conversation and adds things that are like meaningful. So when people see it, they go and look at my profile, they go look into my tweets, and they're like, oh, I like this guy, and they follow me. So that's like how I've grown from I think I had like 200 followers maybe like 2 months ago, and now I have like 600 something. So I grew
Nice.
pretty fast. Just doing that.
I just post pictures of my calves.
OrnoFan subscription is going up soon. I hear.
Yes. Works great.
Getting a lot of traffic.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, and the other thing so basically the other thing I'm looking at when I look at this email is I find this in a lot of emails. It's very lacking of like you talk about how like it's really important to have a battle tested plan. But like almost every trader that I know has a plan of some form. Like we all fucking know to have a plan. It's like rule 2 or 3 of trading is like get a plan. It's just that we can't follow the plan, or the plan sucks, or like all these other issues. So you're trying to like hammer on points that like people already know, which is fine if you do hammer on that, but you need to expand on it. So I talk about this concept of like you start with a macro explanation of something. So like the macro is like you need to have a plan, and then you need to have a micro explanation where you kind of go deeper on that topic. Otherwise, it feels like your email has no substance to it, and you're kind of just giving me vague advice that helps a little, but it doesn't really when someone's on your list for long enough, it doesn't really help them in any way that then makes them think, oh, this guy really knows what he's talking about. I want to get his product. And I think this is one of the problems of why I don't like Ben Settle's emails that much anymore. I used to like his emails, but as I've been on his list more and more, it's like I feel like yes, you don't want to hard teach, but he gives you so little that it feels like I don't even really care to read your emails because I know you're not going to give me any value. So you gotta find the balance between like hard teaching and soft teaching and entertainment. Like you got to find the balance where you give them enough value, but then you tease something else. So if I do give value on something, I make sure I tease another element about something. So yeah, so the rest of this is good. Like he uses imagine statements. Imagine having an experienced mentor teaching you all the secrets he knows. So one of the things that I don't like when people say imagine, you want them to imagine. Typically, you want them to imagine like a feeling or imagine a specific experience. So tell me to imagine having an experienced mentor is somewhat good, but it'd be better to tell them to like imagine imagine how easy life would be if you had a mentor teaching you all the secrets you know. Just saying, imagine you have a mentor. Okay, cool. Like now I'm imagining a mentor telling me everything. It's not like I'm
It's simple.
imagining
It's
that doing
abstract.
anything for me. I'm just imagining having someone tell me what to do. But like if you imagine the easiness of how effortlessly it will be to execute and like get rid of flaws because I have an experienced mentor teaching me everything, that's different because then I can imagine that. But like tell me to just like vaguely imagine someone teaching me secrets doesn't really help me. And then like imagine having almost unrestricted access to him. I can't, like, as a normal person, I'm not going to like tie the connection together. I know what you're trying to say. You're trying to say like it will be easy because I'll have unrestricted access, but I don't put those two together. You're trying to make me think, and I don't want to think. I want you to just do it for me. So try to when you do like imagine statements or talk about specific things, you want to add like imagery and add like descriptive elements to your copy, which is something I typically do a lot in my copy. I try to use words that are a lot more descriptive.
Imagine what it would be like if I was in the room all the time, looking over your shoulder, helping you make the right trades, avoid mistakes, blah, blah, blah. That would be much better.
Yeah, and then like the next sentence you could say like imagine how much less stress you'll have wondering if you're making the right decision, or just like the simple thing like that. Like if you are going to do what Arno said, where you're just like talking about like imagine like a mentor being there, then like the next sentence you want to talk about a feeling or like the easiness or whatever, like you want to expand upon it. So yeah, I would say the big things that most people do and that I look for is just like, does it flow right? So that comes from like reading it out loud, like working on your transitions. Like a lot of people, the transitions between lines, like it's fucking weird. And then making sure you're telling me what's in it for me very early on, making sure you actually deliver on the subject line, making sure the email has some substance. So like up here, we didn't really have any substance. It felt like it was lacking. And then also just having emotion. That's a big thing. Is like a lot of people don't. I say this all the time in the noob chat. I'm like, there's a difference between telling me like hurry up and get to the checkout so you can learn the way to fix your life. Like do it now before your partner leaves you. I'm like, I call that like cheap marketing, where it's like you're trying to tell me to do something instead of creating a rise of urgency out of me through evoking specific emotions and evoking intrigue and inspiring like fear or anxiety or whatever. I need to feel like I need to click the link so I can fix my life. I don't need you to tell me to do it. So it's a lot better to like evoke emotions from people and make them want to click versus feeling like they want to feel like their life is going to get better if they click this link, or their life won't get better if they don't click it. Or like what they're doing right now, if they continue on the path that they're going, they're going to have struggles. And so like, it's probably better to click this link and get the product. That's kind of like the feeling you want them to have. So I put it all together for you on a silver platter and created the only masterclass you ever need, including our secret trading room any member can use daily to replicate the success we have at Startup Trading, get valuable insights in real time. So this is another thing that I see from a lot of people. And this is like a big lesson I learned in the last like month or two. It's like you're saying a lot of shit here, but you're not fucking saying anything. Like what does any of this even really mean? Like join our secret room. You can use daily to replicate the success, get invaluable insights in real time for max leverage. Like what does that mean? You're not paying.
I like max leverage. I love leverage. 125x leverage.
125x.
Leverage is the best. But you're right.
Yeah.
It's like a politician talking. There's a lot of words, but there's nothing in it.
Exactly.
On Squirtle anus, 125x.
Yeah. Exactly. This is the way.
So yeah, it's like it's just being more clear about what you're saying. And so like
it's like a vegan meal. There's no meat.
So you could say like join our secret trading room. Join our secret trading room that will allow you, or that will allow you to allow you to know which trades to enter.
It's a shit bullet. That's why you're having trouble rephrasing it.
Yeah, it looks like a
That's
broken
true.
fascination.
Like,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
hard to make something out of it. The secret trading room. That sounds like a 1930s casino. Just doesn't work, man.
But yeah, I mean, the big thing is just to make sure you have more clear, like, what exactly am I going to get? And this comes from not really knowing the avatar, right? You just use, a lot of people say this, like, have success, or, you know, daily, you know, replicate success. What are you doing, bro?
TV is drawing.
What is this?
TV is doing art on the dock.
A truly no-brainer one-on-one mentorship with me to milk the most money out of your trade. So like, that's a little bit better because you're talking about like getting the most money out of your trades, right? That's more descriptive, but yeah, I think the big thing is just being a lot more clear with what someone is going to get and what the end outcome would actually be. Is just a big thing that a lot of people do. They just say a lot of words. That's a good thing. Is a good analogy is like talking about a politician. I never really thought about that. It's kind of true.
Maybe get max returns in real time or with max leverage with our secret trading room, something like that.
Yeah, I don't think he meant max leverage in terms of like leveraging your account. I think he just meant like max leverage, like you're going to get valuable insights for like the maximum outcome is what he was trying to say. Like, I don't think he was trying to say leverage your trades. So that was probably like bad on him to say leverage, because leverage is a trading term. So people are going to like mix that up. But
Also, just 2 bullets, like you could have squeezed out 4 or 5 really. So like kill a bullet, bang, bang, bang. And it's like, oh, there's all this intrigue and curiosity around this secret trading room. Ooh, all these benefits, you know?
yeah,
If the bullets
exactly.
were actually good.
Yeah, it's
Then it
like
would
cheap.
be like, oh damn, I gotta see this stuff, you know?
Yeah,
That will get
exactly.
you inclined to click on the link, you know?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean by it's just cheap marketing is what I call it. It's just using words that sound cool, like the secret trading room, instead of like really teasing out the specifics of the trading room and the specific things that they can get. Now, to be fair, he might not know because it's free value, so it's probably he doesn't really know what's in this trading room. So he doesn't really know the
Yeah,
things.
that's actually a good point when it comes to like, because you have to write, in order to write good free value, you have to like tease the mechanism. But like, if the sales page itself doesn't like include any of the actual like mechanisms either too well, then it can be like hard to write sometimes.
Yeah, I actually told this to Ricardo earlier. I was like, when you send free value, you can actually look a lot more experienced if you just make up a fucking mechanism and then you just highlight it like this and you leave a comment and you just tell the person that you're sending this to, like, this is a unique mechanism. There wasn't anything on your website, but I just put this here because it creates a lot of intrigue. If we work together, we would obviously come up with a real mechanism. And like, there's like lots of layers where I like have comments, because then I'm like just telling them what they're supposed to be seeing so they understand. Because like, I don't expect them to fucking know what good copy is. So I leave some comments on some of the stuff when I send it to them. But yeah, I mean, those are the main things I look at. Just, you know, what's in it for me, the flow, using actual like imagine statements with clear visualization, with this being very specific, not just using like cheap marketing terms, and then not using like boring urgency claims. Like, what do you mean by limited spaces? It's probably not even actually limited. Tell me a reason why it's limited, like explain, and then I'll better
PDFs is going to
understand.
run out, man.
Yeah, I would just say like due to keeping the quality high in this room, we want to ensure that everyone who joins gets the most, like we can give you proper feedback and people get the most out of everything we give. So we limit the spots on these calls. So that would be way more better, or so that'd be a lot better, because then there's like specific reason. So cool. So who has something else you want to go over? Or we can do another email, or
I actually
look at the outreach.
I actually have a question for Arno. regarding you mentioned that we should go for like surgeons and lawyers and real estate agencies, but I know English and I also know Norwegian very well, right? Those are like Norwegian is like my main language. So my question is, would you recommend me going for the Norwegian market or
Yeah,
like the
sure.
international English speaking market?
No, it's like you when you're starting out, especially, you try and find the arena where there's the least amount of competition. This is why I don't understand people trying to, get into the dieting niche or the business opportunity niche and then write to people with 1 million followers or something. Like you're going to be, it's like me stepping into the UFC cage. I'm going to get wrecked. And it won't even be pretty. Like, I'm going to get my ass whooped. And then compare that to your local chiropractor or surgeon or lawyer or whatever. Like, obviously, you're going to write better copy than that dude because he has no idea what he's doing. It's like me challenging the homeless person outside of the supermarket. I'll probably win, and I won't even have to be that good. Like, I just have to be, not high on crack, and I'll still win probably. So that's
Right.
that's my approach to this kind of thing.
But
Challenge homeless people.
another thing, because here in Norway, like for example, the real estate agencies, I think there's like maybe 5, and that's it in like the all of Norway, because they're
In
pretty.
Norway?
Yeah, in Norway, because you have
How many people are living in Norway?
Oh, only 5 million, bro.
Then there's no way that you only have 5 real estate agents. No way in hell. We have
Well, because I did some research, and I only could find like 5 like proper agencies that actually had like bad copy but had money. And another thing is that when writing copy in Norwegian, I suck ass in Norwegian, but in English I do good. So how could I like get better at
how can you
writing
be
Norwegian?
worse in your own language compared to English?
I don't know.
Can I answer this one?
It's weird because I've
Yeah, it's
been
like-
I don't know. Can I answer that
practicing
one?
in
Because I
English.
write.
Sure.
So my English is also better than my German writing. So whenever I write copy in German, I just write it in English and then I throw it into a translator.
Yeah.
And then I get perfect German copy.
Well, I mean,
Alright.
probably you get close to perfect, right? I mean, it won't really. I assume if you were like, for me, if I would write Dutch copy, I would write it in Dutch. But let's say I write English copy and I translate it, then in that case, I will go over it and look at, like, would I say this to someone in a bar in Dutch? And usually I need to make small adjustments, but that's basically it. Like, most of it holds up. And again, like, even if you suck, let's say you suck ass, well, again, like, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. Like, you're probably still going to be better than your average Norwegian surgeon. And like I said, I highly doubt the statement about the real estate agents, but in the unlikely case that I'm wrong, that's a Charles Barkley book title. Like, I may be wrong, but I doubt it. I like that book title. But let's say I'm wrong. Well, pick any other niche. Doesn't matter. Like, any dudes who have money, then approach them and write their copy. And you're always going to be better than them because, like, they'll kill you in surgery or chiropractic, however you say that. But you'll kill them in copy, even if you sort of suck ass.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, it's like the
Okay.
homeless person. Like, he'll probably outdrink you, but you'll outfight him.
All right. Thank you, Arnold.
Yeah, no problem.
I wanted to add to this because I started experimenting with some Estonian copy myself recently. It's a funny thing to try out because it's like some of the vocabulary that you're so used to using in English like just doesn't sound right when you're like directly.
Yeah, it doesn't always
translate it
work,
to-
right? Correct.
like that's why I'm a bit skeptic about like if you use
Yeah.
Google Translate and because you have to like go over to text to make sure it sounds like normal dialogue to somebody you
True.
have with like at the bar, the example you brought.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like it's still like the persuasion and everything is the same. Like you're still setting up the email with like a hook, you're disrupting their pattern. You're like, what's in it for me to start, then the emotion in the middle, it's it's the same thing, right? And then the solution
Structure
at
is the
end,
same. The words are slightly
CTA.
different. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like when you translate it, it has to like sound normal dialogue that you'd have with somebody, right?
Yeah.
So that's the only thing you got to look at.
True.
Oops, I'm mic on mute. Let's look at bro, I'm laughing at my ass
Yeah.
off with that Krispy Kreme thing.
Yeah,
That's
you're
so
looking at
funny.
the ad, right? That's so good.
Fucking hell, dude.
Cream is a verb.
I'm gonna be thinking about Homer Simpson's cream for the rest of the evening.
Fuck's sake, bro.
You will become crazy.
Yeah. If you're not cool, then Krispy Kreme ain't for you. Yeah.
What did you say? The guy sent you that?
So I mean, I get this DM, right? And I assume he's trolling me, which I don't even remember how I made it clear to him that that I thought he was being funny.
Like, damn, and that was really funny. He's like, it's not
Yeah.
supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be
Something
serious."
like that. And then he got back to me saying, "What do you mean? Could you please review it?"
Trying to make
I
money,
almost
man.
died.
Trying to
I'm
make
like, "Oh,
money.
shit.
This is free value for a client.
This is for
Trying to
real.
make money here, man. It's Krispy Kreme, dude.
I should make like a fake HU account and just send you like the most out off the wall fucking copy.
All of this kind of stuff. Yeah, I'll definitely enjoy it.
And I'll be like, bro, why you disrespect me like that? I'm being serious.
Yeah, I followed all the lessons. What's wrong with it?
Or no, you're also a big fan of veiny, large male private parts. correct?
I'm a big
That's the
fan
second
of
one.
thick, veiny genitalia. Yeah,
And don't forget the midgets too.
yeah, thick, veiny midget genitalia. That's my niche.
No, that's a good niche. That's a perfect example of
It's
sub
a
niche.
solid, thick
That's a
niche,
solid sub niche. That's a pretty solid sub niche.
nice and meaty. Yeah, I agree.
Hilltop, I don't think I've ever seen you.
It's very creamy too.
Yeah, I'm a real person. I exist.
Oh my
I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not a guy in a suit.
Well, I figured you could have just like had that good looking profile picture forever, but then you weren't actually good looking.
Yeah, it's
Am I?
You're like a fucking dork
know.
or something, hiding behind the camera.
Yeah, I'm a nerd. Yeah,
Maybe you're actually a
Actually.
midget. Like we can't see below, the shoulders.
maybe. I got short man syndrome.
Yeah.
I hate everybody.
His legs are dangling off the chair right now, swinging his legs.
Yeah, I'm sure
Yep,
of it.
yep.
Yeah.
All right.
I appreciate the Open Sans 12, Luke. That's the first comment I want to make. That's my go-to. That's a nice font.
I have to leave you guys. I have something
Alright, bro.
coming up in 5 minutes.
No
I
worries.
did enjoy my time. So let's do this again real soon. It was fun.
Yeah, we should do them every once in a while, just for the
Yeah.
experienced people.
And
We
the
can laugh
Krispy
about
Kreme.
silly shit.
So keep creaming, guys.
All right.
Stay
Absolutely.
creamy.
Stay creamy. Bye now.
Eat creamy.
All right. Yeah, so I mean, can you tell me a bit about this list and what the offer is and who the avatar is?
Yeah, so the audience is, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Mm.
Yeah, the audience is more the stocks community. I don't know which other way I'd describe that. But the client is someone who runs Twitter Spaces, where he's offering financial advice with investing and trading.
Yeah.
And it's an awkward client because he doesn't actually have any products he offers himself. he has sponsorship deals which he'll promote throughout his spaces. So I write emails promoting the products that sponsor him, if that makes sense. But this isn't meant to be a sales email. This is actually more just to provide value.
Got you. I mean, the first thing I'd say is this is what I was talking about earlier, is a lot of people try and take this Tate angle, which just is not good for 99% of people. Calling out that someone's poor probably is not going to get you good open rates. I mean, it might, but
I
it's
was
also
just reading that. I was reading that back after just hearing your feedback on the last email. And I'm just thinking like I made the same mistake.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, I think it's a lot better. It's a lot better to, you want to model what's already kind of working, but then just make it better and incorporate the lessons of like DIC and PAS and all the other things. So typically what I do is I kind of look at, well, at least for one of my clients, not all of them, but one of them, I try to look at like what the competition's doing. And I try to model a little bit of like what they're doing, at least a general theme of it. And then I just make it way better because I know that they don't really know how to market, or some of them do, but I try to look at the ones that do know how to market, but they don't really understand it as deep as we do. So
yeah,
I think modeling is good. And then like maybe 1 or 2 emails a week, I won't look at anything. I'll just write it myself without like inspiration. But I think like modeling what's already working is like something that a lot of copywriters don't do. You kind of want to model somewhat, because otherwise you just go so off the rails that you don't make good copy. And so like for this, I mean, if you look at most emails that are really good, if you're on like email lists, I mean, they typically just have like some kind of curiosity plus like benefit, or curiosity plus pain point, or curiosity and just something. So if you like scroll through your email list, you know that like it's probably going to be about something related to something they care about, you know, like the secret technique to getting 6-pack abs is like just a fast one. Or like one of my emails is like it was like complexity is the death of your trading. So it's like curiosity because it's like, well, what do you mean by complexity? And also like, oh shit, it's like gonna destroy my trading, like I want to read this because there's like, I'm talking about specific things. So I think a lot of people just aren't specific enough, and they just have like it's good to test this like general, I call it like vague intrigue without like any kind of backing behind it. It's just like intrigue by itself, which is like good to do like once a week. Like I'll test it once a week just to see, like some list it will work for, but typically I try and keep it very much within a certain realm of things. So yeah, I think just changing the subject line would help. But yeah, so it's easy to think you're rich. What do I mean by this? You may have more money than you'll ever know what to do with. And the second thing is like, people reading this list, does the majority of people reading this guy's list actually have money? Because I'm assuming no, because the reason they're reading his list because they want to make money. So this is just not a good angle to begin with by itself, because you're speaking to like 5% of people. And this is what I meant by like, I think I said this the other week, where like a lot of people, they just start writing. And this is what I used to do when I first started. I would just kind of write. I just wrote and like stuff would come out and I would do okay. But now I spend a lot, my emails take me longer than they used to, because I spend more time like trying to be deliberate and like thinking about like where somebody is on the trajectory of their journey and how I can guide that thinking into where I want them to go and what's going to get them to the end result they want, or get them to be thinking the way that I think, so then I can convert them into a customer. So most of my emails are like what I call like belief shifting emails, where I'm just kind of slowly shifting their belief about an idea. So you start with a general like good idea, right? You do kind of shift, you are trying to shift their belief, right? Like you're trying to shift their belief that like thinking you just have money and a big mansion and a Ferrari, it's easy to think you're rich. It's easy to think you've made it. But if you look at the majority of ultra wealthy people, you realize that most of them are never happy. So you're trying to shift their belief, which is good. But I think you're just doing it with the wrong topic, or at least you started off the wrong way, because you're talking about like it's easy to think you're rich. What do I mean by this? But most of the people on his list don't think they're rich, so it's kind of like not going to hook very many people.
Yeah.
But and also too, it's kind of like, well, what am I going to get out of this email? Which is what I was trying to say earlier. It's like you need to tell me within the first few lines, like the purpose of the email or what I'm probably going to get out of this. So just tell me like it's easy to think you're rich. What do I mean by this? You have more money than you know what to do with, a big mansion. You're just kind of saying things. I'm like, well, why am I reading all this? Like, what are you going to tell me? Like, you need to tease certain elements that I'm going to learn or something that's going to have me intrigued to want to read farther, which can happen by having a good subject line. But yeah, so I'll show you some examples of that in a second. Let me finish this, Laris, and then we'll answer your question. So yeah, it's easy to think you've made it, but if you look at the majority of wealthy people, you realize that most of them are never happy. Most of them are stuck in work 24/7 mode, draining the enjoyment out of life, and they have distant family because they never made time to spend with them. A significant number of people have dedicated their entire lives to building a net worth that will last for generations, but they never give themselves time to enjoy life and the wealth they've created. But they never put a time aside to do things that make them happy. Sure, money will solve a lot of your problems, but there are some things money simply can't buy, and happiness is one of them. That's why it's crucial to get out of the work 24/7 mode from time to time and something that gives you peace of mind. Otherwise, even with the ultra high net worth, you'll still feel poor. Right. So as I'm reading this, and this is one of the things that I've kind of been doing lately, is I kind of sometimes I'll write my subject line first, but I would say 70-80% of the time my subject line comes after. Because what I find is typically as I start writing, I'll say like really like intriguing things here or here that I could use as my subject line. So you could say like, so
Yeah, it's normally always the last thing I write anyway.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah.
So another thing too that I want to say is like these subject lines I'm about to say right now are probably not going to be that good, but I don't let that stop me from writing. Right. I used to have this problem where I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I need to like sit here and think really hard. I was like, it's a lot better to just start writing shit. And it happens a lot too. Like when you're on calls with people, you have this desire to like want to look good, which like holds a lot of us back from like actually writing good shit. So yeah, I would say like even with a high net worth, you still feel poor. So like why wealthy people are actually poor. You can put it in quotes.
I wanted to expand on the subject line point because sometimes I agree with the fact that it works better if you like write the email first and then you come up with a suitable subject line for the email. Because sometimes I feel like as you write the subject line and you write the email, it's like you start to go off on some kind of tangent or you get some kind of a rhythm, but then you realize like, okay, it's kind of like not matching with the subject line. So like, okay, goddamn, now I gotta bridge this gap right now. You know, it's like going off. But whereas if you were to do it the other way around, you could come up with a pretty good email that focuses on the pain points and desires of your avatar, right? And then you just write the subject line afterwards. That is actually going to bridge the gap between, you know, so it won't be like clickbaity or it won't be off topic. It'll, you know, the gap will be bridged and there'll be a connection. So they'll get what they're looking for essentially.
Yeah. I think the main problem I have with this email is I feel like it's a bit too vague. Like I've mentioned things like draining the enjoyment out of life, but I haven't actually expanded on what enjoy actually means.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, yeah, I agree. I mean, I think a lot of the email is okay. I mean, one thing I would say is like when you say PS, it usually comes after you say like from and then like whatever your name is, and you say PS. Just like putting a PS here looks weird, looks super weird. Because it's like in the mid start talking and like randomly there's a PS. It's supposed to be like from blah 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 or talk soon, blah blah blah, and then a PS.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the email's fine if it's like a value email. I think it's just you need to tease like what's in it for me earlier on, and then yeah, just tease earlier on as well as yeah, I mean, you are right. It does lack a lot of it feels like it lacks a lot because it's just kind of talking about what people already know. Like everyone's already told them that like money doesn't buy them happiness. So I feel like you need to expand upon that farther. What you kind of do here. So if you look at the majority of ultra wealthy people, you realize that most of them are never happy. I'll tell you, like most of them never actually get time. Most of them are never able to actually relax with their loved ones, enjoy the wealth that they built, and something else because they're constantly stuck in work mode. So while they're rich on the outside, they're slowly dying on the inside. And as a result, their family life is crumbling into pieces.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And then you can talk about like, then you need to relate this back to me because you're just talking about other people. I don't fucking care about these other rich people because first thing I'm thinking is, well, I'm not going to be that guy when I'm rich. So like you need to be like, you have the luck or something. You need to talk about like, well, you have the ability to like become happy now. So then when you do get money, you'll actually enjoy it. Like you need to somehow tie it together to tie it back to the reader. Otherwise it's kind of like you're just talking about stuff.
I feel like there's like you've gone on talking about them for too long. It's like they yeah. Like you got to tie it back to you know, so it feels like you're talking to the other person. Like you can do it. It's not like it's a forbidden fruit or anything, but it's like you do it. I think you do it a bit too long here. So like you can bring an example to like paint a picture of some kind of dream or pain point, obviously, but like I think you went on it with they a bit too far in this particular situation.
Yeah,
I feel like that's a problem in a lot of my emails recently as well. That's something I've definitely got to work on.
You're just gonna be conscious of it, you know, as you go along. You're gonna be like, wait, no, I'm talking to my avatar. I'm not talking about anybody else. I'm not talking about the neighbors. I'm not talking about their fucking cats. I'm talking to this guy. I'm talking about his dreams, talking about his pains and how to solve those problems. Like I'm talking to this guy.
Yeah, I'm conscious of it now, but I just still have to catch it when I'm actually writing. I can spot it after.
Don't catch it when you're writing. Just write the email and then come back and catch it. I mean, you're always gonna have things you miss. I mean, there's certain things that you're focused on. Like I try to focus on 1 or 2 lessons a week that I'm really trying to instill in my writing. And then once I instill those, they kind of just naturally happen. But sometimes as you start learning more and more things, you're going to like forget other things. But a lot of times, a lot of it will just become ingrained, like the ones that matter. And then the rest of it, you just keep learning new things. Like I told Andrew last week, I was like, man, I'm really bad at like writing short, punchy emails. Like I can't I always try and expand upon shit. He's like, okay, what you need to do is look at your old emails and try to condense them. Yeah, the call's recorded. And try to condense them into 4 sentences. I was like, bro, that sounds hard as fuck. And he was like, yeah, but you do it as a drill. Like you're not going to actually put that email out, but just try to condense everything and get the point across in 4 or 5 lines. And just do that for like 1 or 2 emails of your old emails every day. Just like practice that. And then like after like a week or 2, naturally you'll be good at writing shorter emails. And then what will happen is like you'll merge the middle ground will then become, you won't be writing too short, but you won't be writing too long. You'll find how to like merge the middle ground and like get your point across. So it's just like running drills to yourself about like certain things you're trying to get better with. Instead of just vaguely writing every day. And then when you learn a lesson like this, right, when you get feedback from someone who's better than you, take that lesson and be like, okay, cool, I'm going to work on that for the rest of the emails this week. And when I review other people's copy, I'm going to ingrain that in myself by giving other people feedback on that. And like the more you do that, the more after like a week or 2, you start to ingrain that thing, and then you move on to the next thing. But like, I learned so many lessons on a daily basis. It's hard to get over, or it's easy to get overwhelmed. And try to implement way too many things.
Yeah, I was actually just wondering, how did you go about studying copy? Did you just go through 1 or 2 lessons a week and then just practice nothing but that until it
Back
just
then, there
became
wasn't really
ingrained
lessons;
naturally?
it was just review calls.
Yeah, review.
So I just attended the review calls and then watched some of the old review calls and then just wrote copy every day, read copy. Like my life was just copy. I mean, there was a period where I remember I was messaging this guy. It was like, this fucking guy's an idiot. He ended up getting banned from fucking HU. But he used to be a guy that was in like the war room. Like he was in the copywriting room in the war room. And then he like, if you're wondering who it was, it's like this dude named Ramza or whatever. Ramsey, R-A-M-Z-I or something.
I thought it was the Damien guy, but yeah, Ramsey.
No, Ricardo remembers him. But he would always talk all the time. But anyways, he was talking about like how the war room wasn't that good. It was like, and he like, I don't know. Anyways, besides the point, I would talk to him every day and I would be like, bro, like, I think I even told Ricardo this because I talked to him like every day. I was just like, bro, I don't know how I'm gonna write about different topics every day. I was like, it sounded like the most impossible thing ever to me. And I remember like reading Ben Settle stuff and being like, man, I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna come up with a new topic and a new way to say the same thing every day. I thought it was like the most impossible task ever. And then like a month or two later, I'm like, oh, it's fucking easy. But at first it was like really difficult. So like you're gonna have times where like there's certain things that are just gonna be like really hard at first and you're gonna write really clunky. But the majority of it is like, as long as your emails generally have flow, which this does, and as long as you can like keep them a little bit shorter and like inspire different emotions, as long as you get those pieces, as long as you get the pieces together of like what's in it for me early on, as long as that's general flow, there's some kind of like emotion throughout it where you try and like drive me over the edge and there's a little bit of substance. If you just have those things, you can write you can write a lot better than most people and you can at least get some results for your clients. And then after that, it's just adding on to those things, like adding on different lessons that you're learning and different things. But like, there's no way, like there's no like clear cut way to really like learn copy. It's pretty messy, you know. And I was talking to like one of my mentors, and he was I was like, bro, how did you get to where you're at? Like, I was like, do you have times where you kind of like, I was just like, how do you go through the daily mess of feeling like you're not good at writing and like taking lessons and feedback and being able to apply them without like getting down on yourself? And he just kind of said like, that's just the name of the game. And he was just like, there's going to be times where you're going to think you're fucking shit at writing copy. Like there's gonna be times where like for a whole month, you're just gonna be like, man, I'm not really hitting anything. Like it's just not gonna feel that great. And then there's other months where you're gonna think you're fucking killing it. And that's just the ebb and flow of writing. Like you're gonna have periods where you're kind of stagnating and sure you're making a little bit of progress, but it doesn't really feel like you're making much progress. But then when you zoom out on the macro perspective, you actually are making a lot of progress. It's just because you're comparing it to when you first started writing copy and you just broke through like plateau. Like you just broke through so many layers and you grew so fast. You hit that 80%, right? It's like the 80-20 rule. You did, you know, you got the 80% down where like, you know, you got everything you need, but that last little bit of 20% is like extremely hard. And so you're going to go through periods where you're going to like stagnate for a little bit. And the next thing you're just going to like have a huge pump in progression. You're going to learn some kind of lesson that really takes you to the next level. And when you start implementing that, it really helps you grow. And then you're going to do that again, or you're going to stagnate for a while, feel like you're not really progressing, feel like you're writing like shit. And then the next thing you're going to grow really fucking hard again. And that's just the progression of writing copy. And that's like something I learned when I was like talking to Andrew as well. Like Andrew said the same thing as this guy said. He was just kind of like, yeah, like it's just the progression of what happens. You're going to have periods where you feel like you're not making like any progress, but it's just like progress underneath the surface. Like you are making progress. It's just not comparative to what you made when you first started. So yeah. What was your question, Laris?
Well, I was curious to know if there's like a Q&A section or whatever, because my question is not specifically for this.
No, you can ask it. I'm pretty much done with this email. We're gonna go look at like some emails on the inbox. So I was gonna like share
Right.
some lessons.
All right, so
yeah, you can ask your question.
having a little bit of trouble sort of narrowing down the avatar and really understanding exactly where the avatar sort of congregates. So I do like handyman shit. I assemble furniture, mount shit on walls, TVs, pictures, whatever. And I do all right doing that. That's kind of like my main gig right now, but I want to expand. I've had a couple $800 days, and I think I'm in an area now. It's pretty affluent in Florida, where I could have that on a daily basis, but I sort of have to like find where these people are, because like right now I'm using an app and it's like hit or miss. So the avatar for me is like 25 to 55-year-old single white females that are unmarried, like professional females, because they seem to be the ones with the most disposable income and the ones that need the services the most because they don't know how to do shit with their hands. So I'm trying to figure out like one, where I could find them, because I've asked a couple of them and it's like, where do you guys online, like where do you congregate, da da da, and they're kind of like, I don't know, da da da. They're really weird about it. And then for whatever reason, I can do this for a client, but I'm having trouble sort of separating myself and basically using myself, like separating myself from the business, even though it's my business. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sort of like trying to figure. You go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing is just, I mean, like you said, like going on apps and like the neighborhood apps, or like those fucking apps that, like those neighborhood apps. I think it's called Neighborhood,
TaskRabbit, shit like that.
Yeah, like those are gonna be good. And the other thing, I mean, it's just yeah, joining different like communities on like Facebook that are in the area, and then also I mean, it's hard because these are like, you're trying to find places that these people hang, which is not really easy because it's not like a digital thing. It's like an in-person thing. So I mean, the only thing I can really think of is like, why don't you ask them for referrals?
Yeah, well, I do, but what I'm trying to get is I'm thinking maybe Facebook ads or something, but I don't know how many of them actually congregate on Facebook. I do ask for referrals, and I do get referrals, and I get repeat business, but I'm trying to find a way, I guess, to really make some sort of a funnel so that they can start, so I can start bringing them to a website.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
You know what I mean? Like, because then I can cherry pick, and I can pick the most affluent clients that I can charge, you know, a good amount of money. And
I think the thing that would make the most sense would be some kind of, well, you might compete with big businesses. I was gonna say like Google Ads, but like, because you could target in the area, but then you might compete with like other, I don't know.
Well, it's very niche, right? Because this is like shit, like this is just bullshit around the house. It's not, I'm not competing with like a Home Depot or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
So it's like people who are looking for this specifically.
Yo guys, what is it you said you were doing? I'm just trying to follow repairs.
So I do handyman work. So like I assemble furniture, I mount shit on the wall, TVs, pictures, stuff like that. Like basic handyman shit around the house. I don't mess with electrical. I don't mess with plumbing.
That's a you know, people don't think about what they have to repair all day or all week. It's only when they see something broken, they go to the phones last minute. So like Daniel said ads, but then you become competing with big guys. But you know, it's something quick like ads for like food and repairs. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard. I don't even know if you really can. I mean, I'm sure there's a way to make some kind of funnel, but it's hard to think about like how.
Because my idea was to write Facebook ads and then put out, I don't have any experience with Facebook ads. Obviously, I've only done the email marketing stuff. Is it even possible to be hyper specific and hyper targeted with the Facebook ads?
I mean, yeah, you can target specific areas and genders and ages. It's just a matter of like, are you going to end up wasting a lot of money? Because it's one of those things where it's not like someone's going to see the ad and then think, oh yeah, I need to get this thing fixed. It's more like they have the problem, and usually when they have the problem, they're going to go search.
That's right.
That's where like the Google ad might come in, because if they search a specific term, then your ad comes up in that area, and then they go to your website, and then your website has like the details.
Yeah, it makes sense.
What if you search up places where people shop for furniture and like doing interior designs, if they're interested in getting used furniture to do interior designs and stuff like that?
I mean, that was an idea that I had. The issue is that a lot of these places like Wayfair, Target and stuff, they already are linked up with the applications. So it's like if they buy a piece of furniture from Walmart, they can choose to have Walmart, the third party application sort of assemble the furniture. So that's what I was talking about. Like I'd be competing with these people. But yeah, I mean, that's really the only way, I think, one of the only ways to do it.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I mean, could you connect with some of the local furniture places? I mean, I guess they probably do. I mean, they probably do installation stuff too. I don't know why they wouldn't.
Right. The other thing that I was thinking, there's a real estate person, and she sort of they always have like model homes and shit like going up, and they're always showing homes. And she was bringing that up. I don't know about advertising, but it's just so expensive, like to put in these things, these magazines or whatever it is.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, that's the thing. A lot of these things are just going to cost. They're just going to burn through money, and it's like,
and it doesn't make sense financially.
Yeah, the only way it's really going to work is just word of mouth mixed with like having their number, email, so that you can like ping them, like, hey, you still know anyone that's looking for X?
Right. So the copy wouldn't even make sense, any sort of copy or a marketing thing.
Yeah, it can, but I feel like you're just gonna waste a lot of money on ads. You gotta find there has to be something out there. You just gotta put in the brain calories to really figure out where there's a place that you can advertise or set up a deal with someone where it's a win-win, but somehow you just gotta, there has to be something out there. And it's not gonna be like obvious. You should watch oh man, there's this fucking YouTube channel I used to watch. I think it's called, I can't remember, it has an orange logo. Hold on.
Home Depot.
It's called Upflip, UPFLIP on YouTube. They interview a bunch of they basically interview like a shitload of I don't know what it's called, like handyman type of business owners. Like right. There's like a guy who does like car upholstery business, mobile detailing business, 6 figures a year cleaning business, power washing business. Like they interview all these people, and a lot of them, they're all like people doing like 6 figures a year, some of them 7 figures a year, but a lot of them will share like random insights of like, he'll ask them like, how did you get started, or like, how did you stand out from people? And a lot of times they'll like drip in these like really interesting things that you never thought of. Mm-hmm. So I think just listening to a bunch of those is in the background of when you're like driving or doing anything. I think you're gonna like hear something and it's gonna like spark an idea, and you're like, oh shit, I should try that. I think that's what you should do, is like listen to them, because that will really, or they might just share something specific where you're like, oh shit, I never thought of that. I think you should do that.
Cool. Thanks, dude.
Cool. All right, we'll do like a few more minutes, but I just want to look at on Gmail.
Belmin's got his hand up.
What's up, guys?
All right, let's see.
No, go ahead, Belmin.
Okay. No, I'll be writing some YouTube ads as a discovery project for new clients, and I was just wondering if you guys have like any pointers, things I should look out for, opportunities that I should tap into, or like the differences when it comes to YouTube ads opposed to emails.
Yeah, I do have some feedback for that, which I can give you in a second.
Okay, awesome.
Cool. So I wanted to cover a few different things. I mean, the big thing is the subject line thing. I mean, just if you look at like most of the good subject lines, you're going to see like the $1 million copywriting roadmap, business mistake online trainers make. I don't have a freaking email list. That's a really good quote that a lot of people probably say. So that's why he put that there. This is not a good subject line. One question. So this is what I mean by a lot of people try and copy what Tate does by doing these like vague intrigue, but this stuff isn't really that good. It doesn't like if you weren't like super into Justin Waller and you happen to follow him, like you're not gonna click that. It's just like what the fuck, one question about what? It has so much that it doesn't have that you're just like, what? I'm not gonna click that. So like this stuff is good for like specific lists, but I just don't think it's good for most people to replicate. Like, did you miss this? Like, what the fucking okay. Don't read this email. That's not even good either. I guess it's funny, but see, this is what I mean. Like the invisible hand that shapes human behavior. Like that's decent. Because it has an intrigue behind it. And it's like, what do you mean shapes human behavior? And it's like the secret of creating better habits. Stop letting your lips bust leaks. So this is what I wanted to talk about. Unfortunately, Chris is not on the call. I was going to call him out on like those last few email headlines have not been very good. Because like the problem with this is like, stop letting your lips bust leaks. Like, what the fuck does that even mean? It's too out there. It has intrigue, but it's so much that you're just like, you don't really know what the hell is happening. I'd be really curious to know what these open rates are on his last few ones. But like this one that he made was pretty decent because where'd it go? The gym is your Ferrari. Like that's pretty decent, somewhat. But like these ones, he's been going off the wall with like doing these ones like this or the X-ray vision test. How is this going to help me? Like it's just like vague intrigue. There's not enough for me to know like how this is going to help me in any way. So like, this is what I was talking about earlier, like the complexities of death of your trading career, why pursuing your passion is bad advice, and talking about specific things that people believe. Like they believe pursuing your passion is good advice. Like, well, what the fuck do you mean by that? Why is it bad? How to speak to others like an expert. People want to learn how to speak like an expert. Like I think a lot of people are just trying too hard. This is what I mean by modeling, right? I mean by modeling, like just keeping it simple when you're starting out. Don't try and be too fancy, because what happens is you try to be too fancy and it just doesn't work. Like I try and be fancy like on one email a week. The rest of them I'm just keeping them very straight to the point. Like I'm not trying to do a bunch of crazy shit. I think a lot of people are trying way too hard to make them like really crazy, like Andrew Tate's, and they're trying to like copy. They're trying to copy the wrong people. Like you should look at what the majority of people are doing. The majority of people are not doing what Tate's doing. Speak like a professional with the speech technique, right? People want to speak like a professional. They want to learn what technique, right? It's better than like trying to be too much. Like what, control the controllables? Like what the fuck does it even mean? How to grow on TikTok. Boom, simple as fuck. But everyone, like anyone that wants to know this is gonna click. Like this is good, like fire breathing leg day tips. Let's go to my actual email list. This is one where I like sign up to all the fucking emails. Number one copywriting cheat code. That's not good. I don't know what, this is a guy I was trying to like get as a client. How I started in copywriting. Boom, simple. Why global markets are declining. People are gonna want to know that. One more step towards nuclear war. Like you want to follow the big dogs, like the Daily Proof. These are like Agora people. I gave Luke the list. I give it to somebody else, but there's like a massive list of like 300, 400 or 500 emails. A lot of them are like Agora emails, like Agora Health, Agora Financial. You want to be like following those.
Yes,
people.
and
like Tim Sanders is really good. Like how I went on Amazon FBA.
Yeah, can you send me that list for the resource
Yeah.
page I'm putting together?
The bear market's back. What you might not know about sanctions, truth about niching. Like people want to know about niching. How you turn the tables during inflation. People are gonna want to know that. See, like this is what I mean by people are you guys are following the wrong people. you're following like Ben Settle, like the VSL jerk, like most people are gonna be like, what the fuck does that even mean? The majority of people on your list like aren't gonna click on this shit. Like you're following people that have such a deep list that have been like emailing for so long that they can do this type of stuff. Like I was talking to Stefan and Justin. They were like the variance on their open rates is like it's so low. Like if they have a really good subject line, it's gonna get them like maybe 5-10% more open rates comparative to and just one like a random subject line is going to get them like I think you said like 50% or something like 45-50% open rate, but they have like a banger like one where they put a ton of time into it, they're going to get like 55%. Like it's not, there's such a little variance between like the open rate that it doesn't matter as much. And that's how Ben's is. Like Ben has built so much credibility with his name that you just see his name and you click. Whereas like a lot of your guys is when you're coming on to these lists, you can't do this stuff because there's not enough credibility built in your name yet. The list isn't warm enough. Or you're getting cold traffic, which is different. Like when you're getting people from cold traffic, you can't do this stuff. Whereas like everyone that comes on the Ben's list is like warm. Like they heard about Ben, they went to his website and got on his email list. They didn't come from like Facebook ads or like some other place. Like, are you partying to get laid or for the experience? Like, that's a fucking good ass question. Like anyone dating is gonna be like, damn, I don't know. Like I kind of am partying to get laid. Yeah, you guys get the point. Cool. And then in terms of what you're asking about, which I guess I'll show now because I was telling Steven about it as well. They're trying way too hard to just like reinvent the wheel. It's a lot better to just like model what's already working and just like make it way better when you're like a newer copywriter. I'd say like say you're making 5 ads, like 3 or 4 of them should just be modeling what's already working and making it better, and then like one of them could be just completely out the left field. Like you don't look at anything else, you just use your own knowledge of like DIC and everything else. That's what you do, and then you test that against everything else. But most people just start writing based on using DIC and all other stuff, and then their ads flop, or maybe it does well, but majority of the time it flops because they don't copy or model like what's already working. So like I'll come on here, you're gonna like make an account, it's free, but I mean you can just type in Millionaire Mentor. Oh wait, that's not the right one, sorry. It's not Millionaire Mentor, it's I'll just type it in there. Then you're just gonna go here and click on view count. Wait, sorry, wrong. Yeah. Boom. So all you're gonna do is like, cool, 36 million views. Someone has 36 million views, they probably dumped a fuckload of money into pushing people to this ad, right? If it has a lot of views, they spend a lot of money to get those views, right? These are all like ads. So you're gonna watch these ads and you're gonna study the basic structure of the ad. You're gonna be like, okay, cool. They hit me with a hook. And you're gonna look at the different variations of hooks. You're gonna be like, okay, all these have like different variations of hooks. And you're gonna look at that hook and you're gonna be like, write down all the different variations of hooks. And then after that, you're gonna like listen to the rest of it. Like what do they typically do in this ad? And you're gonna see like they get you with a hook, and they have some kind of intrigue, and they have some kind of like basic argument about the unique problem that you're having, and then they kind of explain the solution a little bit, but they tease it a lot, and then you click to like go to the thing. So like that's the best way to make a good ad. Just like look what's already working. It doesn't have to be in your niche, it can be like other niches. And then look at what's happening in your niche as well. So like type in different keywords and just try and, I guess it takes time, right? It takes time to find this shit. It's not easy, but like as you do it, then you're just gonna model what's already working, but then use your marketing brain to make it like way better. Like how can I make this better? How can I make this related to my niche? And then so do one ad like that, or 1 or 2 ads like that, and then do one ad that's just like completely on your own, just like out the left field, and then just send it out all those to the prospect. And then they can just test them and they'll let you know which one works. That's how I do it now. I used to try and just make my own shit and reinvent the wheel, and it didn't work because I was trying way too hard. Just like, because like what happens is you'll look at ads and you'll be like, man, that ad sounds so dorky, but it's working. So like, why are you trying to make it? Why are you trying to go way out the other side? Like, just if it's working, it's working. And that's like a big thing that I've been doing lately. And as I progress in my career and get a lot better, then sure, I'll probably make my own shit. But starting out, especially when you're newer, you've never wrote an ad in your life, trying to just like make something completely off the wall is not a smart idea. Unless you're testing it against other shit.
Do you also recommend like doing that with free value in general, like to model other things that are working?
So I
in that
don't
niche?
really do it with emails because I think most people suck at emails.
Yeah.
But I definitely do it with ads, like paid stuff,
Okay.
because it's kind of easy to tell if someone's doing well or not. Whereas like email, you can't really
Right.
tell if they're doing well, and it's a little bit harder. So I mean, I do it with email, I do it with ads, and I do it with sales pages. I'll look at like general skeletons, general structure of like what's working in the market, try and figure out what's doing well. Like research is a big thing that I think a lot of people don't do. I do research on, I split research up into 3 phases, split it up into the actual product itself. So trying to like, let's say it was like a supplement. I would go and look at all the different ingredients in the supplement and like different angles and research articles that I could use within my sales page and different proof elements. And then the next phase is looking at the actual the market. So like what's the market doing? What's the sophistication level? What are people saying about it? What has already been put out there? Like what products are out there? What's working? What's not working? So for example, if I was looking at like, if my product was like keto, I'd go and look at like all the different other diets. I'd look at like what other ways people have used to lose weight, you know, working out, cardio, all that other shit, why they like it, why they don't like it, like pros and cons. And then I would go and look at the actual avatar itself. So I try and research the avatar. So I go and look at different forums, different Reddits, and all this other fucking shit to try and find like what people are saying about it, their feelings, their desires, their beliefs, what they want, the dream outcome, how they feel, the way they speak, how they think. All those things are like what I do to like do a lot of research. And then I just boil that all down into like making a sales page. So like, yeah. So like I have all these general questions that I think these are this is somewhere in fucking Hustlers University, but I have like these deep questions and I kind of go into expanding upon it farther. I have like other questions I look at, and then this is what I do is I take quotes like from forums, I just dump them here. Like usually I have like pages of them, but I didn't really do much because I already done this project a long time ago. But what I do is I take this, I paste the whole quote, and I'll find like the part that I really like. I like the cherry-picked examples of great trades that dazzle a reader and build a false sense of confidence in the system. Like, bro, this is a great copy. I could never fucking write this shit myself. This just comes from like, this is where you see really great copy is usually because some fucking dude said it on a forum. So I'll just like make a comment and I'll just copy paste that there. So then when I'm reading through, I could be like, cool. Like as I'm writing my sales page, I'm like, oh, okay. Like, oh, it's just a book full of topical information that could have been gleaned on the internet for free. Awesome. Cool. That's an objection people have. So I could like talk about that. Like, cool, let's put this somewhere in my sales page. And then like when I'm looking again, I'm like, okay, well, I need something else about like, oh, okay. Seems like every time, even if it feels like every time you put a trade on, within seconds, it's going the opposite direction. Well, this program is going to be for you. Like that, boom, like perfect. You're sitting there watching every tick on the chart as once you put a trade on, like, and then bam, within seconds, you know, your stops hit and your account's dwindling away. There was a point where I was considering selling signals because all you had to do was enter the opposite of me and you would have made money. Like, bro, this is fucking great copy. And so I just like find full quotes. I just like, usually I'll have like 20, like literally 20 pages of this shit. And I'll have like all these comments on the side of like the exact part I like about the quote. And I'll use that in my copy.
Wow. That's deep.
Yeah, and you can also use this in your emails too. Like it's how you write really good stuff, and like you get into the head of the prospect because it's like this is what people are thinking. And I have all these other fucking questions I answer. So I have like, I don't know if you guys follow this guy. He's one of my mentors, but he's like really fucking good. Oh, I should fucking This is a really good template for writing good sales pages. You guys should, and it helps too to learn how to get better at doing visualizations. But in there, he gives you like a step-by-step process for like, he gives you like things to do before you write a sales page. So like question one is like, think about your process problems. Desperately looking for a solution. If only I could fix blank. It was like, what would make them wake up in the middle of the night, slap themselves in the forehead and yell, I got it. I figured out how to blank. The benefit should carry that level of impact. You'll have a proven trained system that's highly accurate, crushes all uncertainty and eliminates self-sabotaging emotions, which eat at your profits. And then like he talks about like what's the vehicle that's going to drive the sales page, calls it the vehicle. He explains it in the book, but then he talks about like writing like even if statements. So like what are their internal objections? I'm like, even if you spent the last few years eating, breathing, and sleeping, Forex with zero results to show for it. Even if you're busy working a full-time job, even if you don't have lots of money to trade with, So you have all these things that then you answer all these questions that then when you go and write copy and you're like, oh, cool, I'm going to add this in here. I'm going to add this in here. And like, as you're writing a sales page, like, oh, this would be a good place to have this. Like, oh, this is a good place to have without statements. Oh, that's a good place to have like proof or like what he calls like happy pictures. So like happy pictures are like basically you get them amped up about the emotional excitement. You paint happy pictures in their brain. Imagine stepping on a scale in the morning, grinning as you're down for 5, 10, 20 pounds, walking to the clothing store and buying cute new skinny outfits or amazed expression. So for mine, I was like, what would life be like if you didn't have to worry about missing all the big trades? How would you know money's never going to be a problem again? Or how would you feel knowing money's never going to be a problem again? Imagine being able to say screw you to your boss and quitting that day. Put aside the numbers for a minute and try to visualize how you spend all that free time. Would you go to all those amazing places you always dreamed of traveling, finally spend more time with your loved ones, or maybe you kick back on the couch knowing you can handle any financial curveball that life throws at you? Imagine the lightness of your step as 10-pound weights fall off your shoulders. I actually changed this later. It's supposed to be like 10 pounds, 10-pound weight of stress, or I said something like 10-pound weights of stress or some shit fall off your shoulders. Relaxing as you take the first deep breath you had months. For me, it's being able to walk downstairs to see, I messed this flow up, but I changed it later. For me, it's being able to walk downstairs to see my children's bright smile staring back at me, knowing I got all the time in the world to be with them, knowing I'll never have to go back to some crappy job I despise. So like, imagine like putting this somewhere in your copy, bro. Like it's fucking like really good. And you have like the unique mechanism of the problem. He explains this in his book. It's really good. It's like every really good copy sales page has a unique mechanism of the problem and a unique mechanism of solution. They're like two separate things. He explains in the book, and then adding urgency and then justify the price. But yeah, like basically these are things I do when I'm writing a sales page or even just writing. I think everyone should answer these questions about like when you first get a client, like you should know all this shit and you should have like quotes and things you can use in your copy. It's like a cheat code. But yeah, to answer your thing about like finding YouTube ads, I just kind of look here.
No, thanks, man. That'll help a lot. So thank you.
And then yeah, the other thing is like if you're looking at like Facebook ads, you just go to like Facebook Ads Manager, or sorry, Facebook Ads Library. So like one of the things I did when I was looking at my like I ended up like writing a bunch of ads that did okay, but they weren't really that great because I wasn't modeling what was already working. So instead I just like came into here and I just said like Forex trading. You gotta be really specific with what you type because it has to have this word in the app. You'll type different shit. And I just found is he not even in here anymore? All right. Well, I don't remember what the fuck his last name is. Shit. Ricardo knows his last name. I don't remember his last name. But yeah, you're just gonna look at like different ads. Like you want to see like ones that are doing well. And by doing well, it's usually they have like a ton of views on them. I think you can see. Maybe you can't. Oh, it's usually like if they've been running it for a long time and it's still active. So like since April, they're probably doing decent. Like obviously this is like completely different. Yeah. Yeah, you're just gonna find different terms and you're trying to find like, okay, cool. Like you probably thought Forex trading is hard, complicated, and it's just not for you. Don't worry. I used to feel exactly the same way years ago. So obviously, like, this is not good copy, right? But what you can do is like use the general hook. Like their hook that they're using is the idea that like most people think forex trading is hard and complicated and it's just not for you, but like it's actually not. So like there was one in here that I found. Damn, I wish. Ricardo, do you know the fucking Maurice's last name? Is Ricardo on the call?
Which one?
Maurice.
Oh, Maurice Kenny, I think. Yeah, Kenny.
Oh, it's Kelly. Okay.
No, Kenny.
I don't know why I didn't show
with
my-
two ends.
Oh,
Two ends.
Kenny. Yeah, there we go. So I know this dude's doing decent because he's been running these ads for a while. It says June 1st, but I've seen him before like a fuckload of times. I've seen like multiple variations of this. Where's his ad at? Oh, this is it. Yeah. So I like modeled this ad, right? I'm like, okay, cool. Like 90% of traders fail because they overcomplicate it. So in order to leave my job forever, I had to simplify it. It's a fucking weird sentence, but I just took the general premise of like, okay, people for some reason are really vibing with this like overcomplicating thing and just keeping it simple. He's like, I stopped using this, started doing this allowed me to do this. Boom, call to action. So I just modeled that. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's have a strong hook. Then have like stop doing blah blah blah. Eventually I did da-da-da, and then I was able to do this or allow me to do this. Like click to watch the free training. Like that's I just modeled the general structure. I'm like, what's their main premise or what's their general theme or idea? And I copy that and then I just like make my own. So like and everything's about testing, right? You're gonna have to like test this. Like it's not for sure, but yeah. So what I'll do is I'll have an ad where I just go and look at a ton of different competition. And I'll just like copy paste it all there. So I have mine here, which is like basically just found. So I took the idea of like simplification. So I was like, most traders struggle to make money from the Forex market simply because they overcomplicate everything. I knew that if I ever want to leave my mind-numbing 9-to-5 job, I needed to model what successful traders were doing already and simplify everything. So I copied the whole structure. Like I removed technical indicators from my chart because actually my guru did all this shit. I stopped chasing the hot new investment opportunity. I quit worrying about news and fundamental analysis. I stripped back all the nonsense and just focus on what actually matters. So like we know how to write with flow. Like whoever wrote that ad, like obviously didn't write with like good flow. Like he tried to combine two things, like two ideas of like traders fail because they overcomplicate it. I need to do this so I could leave my job. Like, okay, talking about overcomplicating shit, but you like overcomplicated your fucking ad. Just like hilarious. But like I just separated the ideas and made them a lot better to read and made it way more clean. And then he basically was like, I developed a simple plan. So I'm like, okay, cool. I developed a simple error-free trading plan that tells me exactly when to enter/exit without having to second guess myself. So like I add different phrases in that I know are like triggers for people. Like people don't want to second guess themselves. They want certainty. And I started thinking too, I was like, well, why is this ad doing well right now? And like the thing about financial is very topical. Everything is like related to what's happening right now. So everyone's fucking worried about the market dropping and all this shit happening. So what they want right now, what they crave right now is certainty. They don't necessarily crave huge returns. What they crave is like certainty. So that's probably why this ad is doing really well, because people want something that's simple, easy, and like proven and like is certain. Like it's very like there's certainty behind it. It's not complex. It's just easy to follow and it's not that hard. So most of the ads that I've seen that are like doing really well right now are just like ones that they have some element to talk about certainty or like making things easy. So yeah, basically just like I add in my own shit, right? I kind of like crank the paint a little bit. So I'm like, you know, I paint the picture. Like you can finally get off the, you know, get rid of that overwhelming sense of anxiety caused by constantly worrying whether you're constantly worrying whether you're taking the right trades or not. You can stop sitting on the sidelines and just watch big trades skyrocket knowing you should be in them. And you can quickly escape the infamous boom and bust cycle. And then I copied that thing. I'm like, using this method allow me to secure 6 figures of investment capital, quit my job as a bicycle repairman, making $3,800 per month, spending more quality time with my family, help 50 plus families get students get get multi 6 figures of investment. Now, the reason I use some of this stuff is because I can't really, on Facebook, you can't really talk a lot about like specific results, like especially in terms of like weight loss and financial. So like I try to like do it a different route and talk about like how they secured investment capital. So it's kind of like, well, if you secured money from like an investor, it's probably a safe strategy versus trying to say like they made like $20,000 per month or like whatever. Because you also got to worry about like in financial, they're really cracking down a lot on compliance. Like there's people that get like sued and shit for making like outrageous claims. That's why Agora is like getting fucking rinsed right now. So yeah. So I'm just like, tap learn more if you want to watch free training where I reveal the exact strategy I use to help me and many of my students quit our jobs. I'll also show you why 90% of trading strategies are fundamentally flawed and leave you exposed to massive risk in the live markets. Tap below to get your exclusive access now. So I just basically modeled what he did and I'm going to test it. But I also have my own ad that's like completely different from this, and I made a separate one too. It's like a little bit different, where I did talk about gains, but I did it in terms of percentages. And I cranked a different angle. So I like a different angle, which is basically about investors. So like, sure, this strategy won't allow you to flip your trading account next week. We're not here to flip some $100 trading account just to show off to random guys on a trading forum. I'm sure you aren't either. We're here to make consistent gains year after year with 6, 7, and even 8-figure worth of investment capital. Because at the end of the day, investors crave strategies that are simple, proven, and reliable. Again, still following the same thing. It removes complexity. So if you want to learn a strategy that has investors fighting tooth and nail to give you their money, then click here below. So like I just kind of model what he did in terms of the structure and the cadence and the whole theme in terms of like certainty, but I use my own marketing knowledge to make it like way better. So hopefully that makes sense to some of you guys. I don't know if you guys have questions about that. I don't know if you still have a question, Bellman, or if that was about the YouTube ad thing.
Nah, man, that's pretty clear. So thank you for that. That'll help a lot.
Yep. What about you, Tyler?
Yeah, so my client is in addiction. She does addiction stuff, and I mentioned doing like Facebook, Instagram ads for her, and she hasn't done them in the past because of like Facebook's guidelines on addiction, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, like, you're probably more versed in Facebook guidelines than I am. Would it even be possible? Like, should I even look into Facebook ads for addiction?
Yeah, I don't know. That might be something that's hard. Oh man, 33,000 results. Fuck. No, I think you can. Yeah, drug addiction support. I mean, I don't see why not. Like you're providing a positive experience for people.
Yeah.
Facebook's all about providing a positive experience. So like as long as you're the big thing about like Facebook in terms of compliance, from my understanding, I'm not super well versed. The thing that I know though is like everything needs to have a general tone. You can't like crank pain really deep and like plunge someone underwater, but you can crank pain a tiny bit as long as I always keep the theme of as long as the overall theme of the ad feels positive. You can have elements in there that are like quote unquote negative. So you gotta imagine like when someone is going to approve this ad, it's probably some fucking wagey who like hates his fucking job and just like there to like look at your fucking ad and they're like, fuck this dickhead spending thousands of dollars like being a fucking douche. So if you're coming in just like, yeah, your life's shit, like I'm here to fucking make it better, like you're fucking fat, like they're gonna be like, what the fuck, no. But like if you like drip layers of that throughout, like you don't obviously say you're fat, but like you know how we do it within marketing. Like there's ways of saying it without saying it. As long as you do that and the overall tone of the thing feels hopeful and like life's gonna be better, like things are gonna be great, like it will usually get approved. Like the one that I showed earlier, that I was showing y'all earlier about where I added in the whole like how to get rid of anxiety, like overwhelming anxiety, and like stop having trades taking you out. Like those could be somewhat considered negative tone, but because the whole thing was somewhat positive, it got approved. So I think as long as like everything's like hopeful and positive feeling, it's fine. But yeah, you are competing with like these type of big companies that just run like, I mean, I fucking hate these ads that are just like, do you want help with this? Like, I try to avoid those ones, but I try and find ones that are, oh, it's hard. You got to find the variation of like, well, these ones are working, but I don't want to use those ones because they're like too dorky. It's, you got to find the balances. Like, you don't want to find these like big companies. You want to find ones that are more guru based, or which can be hard to find. What's the addiction again? It's like alcohol, right?
My client works with everyone who has addiction, so it's not like a certain niche per se. That's why like a lot of our products are kind of general, which in the copy you reviewed the other day, like I never specified an addiction because, well, the product isn't for a specified addiction. It's just like general tips and tricks for people who are dealing with addiction.
Got you. Yeah, this is a decent ad. I mean, I'd probably have a hook here, but you see what I mean? Like, I take elements of what people have, and then I add my own layers, right? Like, you know how to filter things through the layer of like, is this good marketing? Like, but you still want to model the general structure of what people are doing, like the general theme of like, okay, they're using this type of central idea. So I'm gonna take that, but I'm like add my own layers. Like, needs to have a hook, needs to tell me early on what's in it for me, needs to have like the other thing, the other stuff that we talk about, like the flow, and needs to not be like too long. Yeah. So anyone else have questions about like anything? I really don't give a shit. Like, if you want to share shit, I will. I don't know if you guys want to like share what I'm doing, or
could you share that avatar thing that you shared with us in the
I don't have the template. I think it's in it's somewhere in the tutorials, right? It wasn't an old one. But the questions are there. I don't remember where they're at though.
Is that the deep questions document?
I think so, yeah.
I was in the old tutorials, yeah. I have the same one.
Yeah, I don't know why they got rid of it.
I don't know if it's still in there.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can share with people if you have it.
Yeah, if you have an extra copy of it.
The one I have is different. Mine's a little bit more in depth, but it's from Stefan's program, so I'm just trying to give it out.
But I'll take a look. Normally I have it and I'll share it in the chat.
Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, let me share this now before I fucking forget.
Creamy shit. Fucking Krispy Kreme. That was fucking G.
That was funny as fuck. Who's this fucking dork who messaged me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, you can hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Oh no, it's for Daniel, actually. Are you done asking your questions?
Oh yeah, go for it.
Yeah, cool. You spoke about cadence, and that's quite interesting. Is it like so for cadence, if you're writing copy to bring people with a belief, unshaken certainty to certainty, would you go for a slow cadence, peaceful cadence to drive certainty down home, compared to let's say you want to get someone excited about dating secrets, would you go for a fast-paced, exciting cadence? Is it like that?
I don't know, it's interesting. I never really thought of it. I guess I don't really think of it that deep. Like, I'm not trying to like incorporate. I mean, that might work actually. I never really considered that. I never really thought about like adding the emotion into the cadence of the email that you're trying to portray. I mean, that might work. I've never really thought that deep about it.
Well, that's kind of.
Yeah, I mean, it's on the test. I've never done that myself. I'm not like thinking that deeply about it.
Okay, cool. Thanks, bro.
Yeah, we'll probably end it in a minute unless someone has like questions about what we were just talking about, or just I don't know, stuff you're stuck on, or if you feel like you're plateauing, like, let's talk about it.
I have a question regarding what you're talking about with sort of not overdoing I guess you're like try hard, that part where you were sort of going through the emails and stuff like that and the subject lines and it's sort of so I've had issues with clients in the past where I go and I try to sort of simplify things for them and they're like, oh, this seems like it's too simple, like it's not going to work, X, Y, and Z. And I found it difficult to explain to them, like, and maybe it's an authority thing, maybe it's a confidence thing on my part in terms of my writing, but like being like, look, this is going to work. I know it seems sort of basic, but these are the actual triggers that are going to get you results.
I mean, you're talking about in terms of like an email or like the subject line, or you're talking about like an email, the whole email is like simplified?
Well, I've run into the issue with the email, but also I did a sales letter for a lady one time, and it was like super basic. It's kind of what she wanted, and you know, it was effective. But she was like, "Oh, this seems like it's too basic, X, Y, and Z." I'm like, "Look, these are the triggers. These are the points that are actually going to hurt. These are the points that are going to convert." But she like wasn't down. I guess she felt like maybe she paid too much money or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it was just there was like a disconnect between.
Say like, yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from. It looks like it's lacking, but it has these elements here, and here. Why don't we just test it for 2 weeks or a week or two or whatever and see the results? And if they're not good or not up to the standard you want, then we'll do your method, or we'll try whatever. And usually they fucking shut up by the time 2 weeks come and they're like, oh my God, it's fucking crazy good. I'm like, yeah, I fucking know. I try to go away from the route of like trying to convince someone and more just like, why don't we just test it? See, like, you think your copy's better than mine? Like, cool, let's split test it then. Let's send yours to half a list and mine to half a list and see what happens.
Right.
Okay. Or we'll send my email today and then we'll send your email tomorrow or whatever. I mean, I've personally never had that problem because I just always come in and they think I'm an authority, but I mean, it's bound, and I'm sure it's going to happen to me eventually.
It might just be my approach to the whole situation. I guess, especially when this went down, I didn't really have that much confidence in my ability. I knew that it would work, but when it came down to actually communicating to the person, there was a disconnect with my communication to that person. So
yeah, true.
I think a lot of it has to do with sort of how you come off and how, you know, the authority that you bring in. Because even if somebody is not as good a copywriter, but they have more authority when they're speaking to the person, I think they're going to be more effective than the person who could be brilliant but is tentative speaking to the client. So
yeah. Well, I mean, I have one client that I work with who, like, on some level, I'm not in the full authority position as I usually am, which is like a little weird, but it's only because he's ran like a lot of successful Instagram like pages on his own, and he's done like a lot of sales already before I came, so he kind of already knows somewhat of like what's good. So sometimes he'll be like, nah, I don't think we should go that direction because XYZ. And it's hard for me to fight back sometimes because I don't have, like, in my marketing brand, like, nah, doesn't make sense. But he has more data to back it than I do. So it's like, I don't really have anything to back it with. So I'm like, okay, cool. But I think it's one of those things where, like, as you gain more credibility through delivering results, you kind of have more to stand on, you know, more like credibility to be like, no, I don't think we should do that. Let's test this. And they kind of listen to you more because you've done more for them. But until you kind of show them, like when you work with bigger clients and you come in, it's like their baby, man. They don't want you to come in and just like completely destroy it. So like this, so yeah, I mean, I at least with bigger clients, that's going to happen a lot. I don't know about like smaller clients. Part of the problem is, I guess, because they are small. It's part of the reason why. It's because they probably fucking have such a big ego about like their shit is good and they know what they're doing. They don't want to get help. So like that's why they struggle this whole time, because they've never actually got help because they think they know what they're doing. They're like, I know what my people want. I'm like, no, you fucking don't. That's why you have no sales, or your sales fucking suck. It's like you don't know what they want. You think you know what they want, but they don't want that. So yeah.
I find a lot of the smaller ones have a difficult time relinquishing control.
Yeah,
because they're so accustomed to wearing so many hats, and it's just like
Yeah.
Nothing's gonna happen for you unless you.
Dude, everything is
set it up right.
Aikido. The more I start to like learn about life, I realize everything is some form of Aikido.
Right.
Like verbal Aikido, sales Aikido, marketing Aikido. It's like everything is just like what they say, just Aikido in that shit into like some form of what you want. And yeah, so
Yeah, that's great, man. Thanks, dude.
cool. But yeah, we'll probably call this one. I have another call I have to do in like a few hours. I'm probably gonna die. But yeah, I hope y'all got a bunch of value from this. I'm gonna post. I have to ask Andrew how to post this shit. So,
Dude,
but
this
also,
call was like an absolute red pill. I realized how amateur my like approach to writing emails was until
Yeah.
now. So I mean, it's kind of like what you said at the beginning. You get that like that breakthrough, and then you reach like a new like plateau. Like if
Yeah.
that makes sense. So it's like I got a feeling this is like one of those breakthroughs right now. It's like before I knew I was making progress, but like at the same time it felt like super slow.
Yep.
And then when I listened to like all the stuff you're saying, like I took notes the whole time. You and Arno were talking about this, and I was just like, what the fuck am I doing? What the fuck am I doing? So it's like,
Yeah.
it's like yeah,
Yeah,
this is-
and this is how you get good, man. This is something that I learned probably in the past like 2 or 3 months. It's like when you first kind of join Hustlers University, it's a lot of like copywriting in a silo, like you're just by yourself, just always talking to yourself. Whereas like the way I got really good is I just started like talking with a lot more people that were like even at my level or just a little bit above me. I would just jump on calls with people and like we would break down copy. I would break down some of theirs copy and they break down some of mine. And it's just like this hub of like experienced people together. It's not good when you're like trying to write, but when you're like brainstorming ideas and you're like talking and bouncing ideas off, a lot of times you'll like say something and like it won't be like, it will just come out and you'll be like, man, it's really good. And then like you like ingrain that idea in your head and it helps. I don't know, it's like there's just a power in like working with other copywriters because we are doing creative shit. So sometimes just having someone look at it and like explaining something can remind you that you're like forgetting such a basic principle, like the basic principle of like what's in it for me. It's like you could easily forget that sometimes and write a whole email and your emails are like super savvy and they sound really good and you think they're good but they're not converting, you don't know why. And like someone looks at it and they're like, bro, what, you're not even telling me what's in it for me in the beginning, or like it flows like shit, or you're being too fancy with your subject lines. Like that's where like constant like communication with each other is like really good. Like I'd encourage you guys to like chat more and share knowledge between each other and jump on calls if you can and just brainstorm. And yeah, I mean, that's what helped me a lot. And then also just like you said about there was a shift where I was just writing emails and just trying to think on my own. And I was like in the silo of like making my own emails and just like thinking what sounded good. And I would just kind of like pull stuff out the air. There was no like thought and like strategic thinking behind what I was doing until I started now. Like what I do is I try and think of what are like the 3 to 5 main pain points that someone has of my main prospect. And then I try and think of like the different iterations of that. So there's like, you know, one pain point has like 20 different sub pain points within that. And that's how you think of topics. I try and like filter them through those categories. Like, okay, I want to talk about today. It needs to be it's going to be a lesson about this. And then what I'll do is like, I don't know, like one day I'll try and write down like 30 or 40 or 50 different topics. Like I'll just like brain dump a bunch of different like ideas. Like some of them will be good, some of them won't. I'll try and like expand upon the topic. It'll be like 2 sentences or something. And if I can't think of shit, like sometimes I'll quickly listen to like a podcast from like Tate or for someone else to just like spark ideas in my brain. Like I might take some of the shit they say, or it might just spark an idea about a lesson I want to share that somehow relates to trading or relates to e-commerce or whatever it is. And I'll just try and like then when I go and write, it makes it way easier because then I have these like list of like 30 topics that I already know are within those pain points. So I know it's going to resonate with the person. So like I was talking about earlier about Luke's email about talking about being rich and like not being happy. Like, bro, at that level, people believe that being rich is going to make you happy. So it's a terrible topic to even talk about because it doesn't really have a lot of substance. So yeah, I try to harp on specific pain points. And then the way that I execute on that is always different. I might share a different lesson, a different story. I might struggle and I might go on Reddit and try and like find different topics about shit people are talking about and like figure out how to like Aikido that into an email that has some kind of lesson. And then it goes to a call to action. And then, yeah, I mean, after that, everything else is, most of my emails are around the topic of like shifting beliefs. I try and like shift the belief about what someone's believing. So let me like, and this is what I meant earlier. I think I said this before. That's why we should do more calls because again, this is my belief system, is my understanding. Like this might be completely different from what Andrew teaches, but it's what's worked for me so far. But hold on, my camera's lagging. Earlier about like every email I make has like some form of like shifting beliefs. I think too many people try to get way too fancy and try to make their writing sound fancy, but then they're not really saying a lot. They're not really like digging to specific points. So I try and think of different objections people have, different just like different pain points, and I try and change that into like, oh fuck, let me do that. Sorry, whenever I'm on Zoom and sharing, it always goes like so slow. Cool. So like this one that I wrote today was like the 2020 version of job security. It's probably not like the greatest subject line, I'll be honest, but my audience is like biz ops. So it's like people that all biz op is, for those who don't understand, like biz op, it just stands for business opportunity. It's like, it could be anything. It'd be like how to trade, how to make money. It's basically what biz op is. Like so many things fall into that category. It's usually like someone who doesn't know about someone who's working 9 to 5 that wants to make money. It's basically what fucking biz op is. So like it falls to a lot of categories. So understand that like the person who's biz op is probably like working a job right now and like worried about what's happening in the world and like all these different things. So like the other thing is like remembering your avatar. So I'm like, okay, this person believes in like job security. So I was like explaining, like I talk about like job security. So I go into like scary reality that most people face is this, according to CNBC in March 2020. So I just like, sometimes I'll find random fucking facts about shit, dude. Like according to CNBC in March 2020, it was discovered that 64% of Americans are stuck living paycheck to paycheck, meaning millions of people are one paycheck slip away from poverty. Now that fucking hits kind of deep because it's like one paycheck slip. You're like, damn, I'm about to be on the fucking streets. It's definitely a scary statistic when you think about it. A couple of years ago, that wouldn't have been that worrisome because everyone believed in job security. So the whole topic of this thing is like about how people believe that like job security exists. So I'm trying to Aikido. Again, almost all my emails are like some form of like shifting beliefs. This is like something that Andrew told me early on. So like, if you look at most of Tate's emails, they're like trying to shift your belief about something. Because if you can shift someone's belief from how they view the world to how you view the world, they're more likely to buy your shit. So like, I know this person probably believes in job security, so I'm trying to Aikido that shit. The way that I execute upon that, I could talk about this topic 3 or 4 more times this month, but I just need to like have a different way that I intro into that topic, or a different like way that I do it. So this is one way that I share. I talk about like some statistic or whatever, and then it's like very short, nothing crazy. And then I just go into the rest of my story. I'm like, but after lockdown, people quickly realized that employers were quick to throw them under the bus if necessary to save the business. So I shatter the belief that like job security doesn't exist. I'm like, well, look at lockdown. Like your fucking employer threw your ass under the bus. I'm like, now with talks of like coming recession, people are even more worried. That's why I tell people that it's extremely important to have another side of business that you're constantly working on. I think I fucked this up somewhere. Another side of business. I totally messed it up. I don't know what I meant there. But before people only started I meant to say like side hustle. Before people only started side hustles if they wanted to eventually quit their job, but now it's grown beyond that. It's becoming almost necessary to have another side income to create a financial cushion, even if you love your job. right? Boom, hitting an objection. Like a lot of this is like subtle shit. Like you guys are so focused on like trying to make it sound fancy. I'm just like covering all my bases. I'm like, okay, this person believes in job security. I'm talking about like how 64% of people are stuck. Like, bro, you're one paycheck slip away. I'm like making them think about that shit. Like, oh yeah, I am one paycheck slip away. And then I cover the base of like, this is what I was talking about earlier about like, you want to think about the subjective experience of the person. Like think about, imagine you and I were having a conversation, like what your next objection would be. Like I'm talking to like average Joe who like believes in like the Matrix. I'm like, yeah, bro, people are living paycheck to paycheck. Like you're one slip away. Like it's crazy, right? And he's like, yeah, but my employer would never get rid of me. Like that's my thought. I'm like, that's probably what they're thinking next. I'm like, well, actually, a couple of years ago, that would be true. But after lockdown, people quickly realized that's not true. And then I start talking about like the recession. And I start saying why it's really important to have a side business. And then I'm like, well, this person's probably, after I mention the side business, is going to like hand an objection of like, yeah, but I still like my job though. It's like, well, even if you like your job, motherfucker. And I'm like, otherwise, you have to walk through life stressed that at any moment, a financial curveball could completely wipe you out. And then they start thinking about that. They're like, oh yeah, that could happen actually. I'm like, if you started your own e-commerce dropshipping business today, by the end of the year, you could be cashing your own checks. Walking through the office with your chin high, shoulders back, and a smile across your face. Notice how like we talk about a lot of these topics, like different tactics, and Andrew talks about like having all these tactics in your tool belt, but you gotta know how to like use them. And a lot of people, they just like I said, they do the whole PAS thing. Like this has the elements of PAS in it, but people do it too early. So this is what I mean by having substance. Like this feels like there's some substance here. It's hard for me to explain what that even means. But as you read this, you feel like there's like some sort of value and some sort of substance. And then I start cranking the pain. Right. And then I started talking about the dream outcome. I'm like walking through the office with your chin high, your shoulders back, a smile across your face. I'm like, meanwhile, fucking Susie is shaking with terror anytime the gas prices increase. The cost of milk goes up by 5 cents. Or a landlord bumps her rent up by $100. Bam. I'm talking about like, you don't have to be that person. Like Susie's like fucking worried, but you're over here like with a smile across your face, like not worried about shit. And then I even crank it even more. I'm like, when the boss starts demanding outrageous expectations from everyone, you can stand your ground knowing they can't intimidate you by dangling your employment over your head. It gives you insane leverage. They know that you can't be messed with, and that gives you power to set clear boundaries at work where you never get taken advantage of. It's something most people will never get to experience. All it takes is just dedicating a few hours every week to work on your business. Boom. So this, I'm like, I know they're probably thinking, yeah, but I don't want to spend 8 hours every day. Or like, I don't want to do all this. I'm like, it only takes a few hours every week. Like, bam. Remember I said, like, remember their subjective experience. And I'm like, imagine the feeling when you check your phone at work and you see $282 in sales from the effort you put in weeks earlier. Bam, painting the future picture. Imagine them pulling their phone out and like having sales. I'm telling you now, it's a whole other feeling when you're getting paid by your employer and racking up sales at the same time. It's something I want you to experience. So if you're ready to start shaping your own financial future, then click below to apply for our program. And I'm like, and then I start talking about like, what's different about my program? Like, I don't want to just like say apply for my program because it's not a sales page. It like goes to a type form. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like you'll get the step-by-step formula for starting a profitable e-commerce business without seeing, touching, or shipping any product yourself. I was like, right now we're teaching students how to start getting sales in the first 2 or 3 weeks for free by leveraging the virality effect of TikTok. So this is a unique mechanism. I just fucking made this shit up. Like, what the fuck is the virality effect of fucking TikTok? Like, I like made that up one day because I'm like, man, TikTok goes viral. I'm like, oh, the virality effect. That sounds pretty cool. So I just like made that shit up. But like he really does though. Like in his program, it does teach you how to like get sales from TikTok. So then I start calling out other educators, right? I'm like fucking like while everyone else out there is teaching the old ways of selling online, we're teaching you how to leverage platforms that are dominating right now. I'm like, click here and I'll be reaching out to you personally via Instagram because we do like when people apply, we talk to them on Instagram. Just because my dude is like verified and has like 200,000 followers. But But do you understand how like I shifted beliefs, and like along the way I thought about the different objections or the different things that they would have. I try and think of it like a conversation. Like I'm having a conversation with someone who maybe doesn't know me, right? And I'm thinking about the avatar. I'm thinking about like, what's the next things they might say. And it's not always gonna be perfect, right? You're not gonna be like perfect with it, but sometimes you do nail it pretty well, right? And that's why emailing all the time is really good, because you can hit different people from different angles. So like this one, like when people talk about value emails, when I send a value email, like even my value emails have the purpose of like shifting beliefs, right? I'm not just gonna send some fucking shit that I don't care about. Like again, it all comes down to like, what are their pain points and how can I help them? And then how can I shift their beliefs so that then the next day when I email them, it's easier to pitch them. So like, I'll show you this example. It's like the invisible hand that shapes human behavior. Like most people falsely believe that building better habits comes down to willpower motivation. See how that's a hook? Like most people believe this shit, and I'm telling you, it's not. Like they falsely believe, like boom, immediately telling you what's in it for you, right? Like oftentimes these factors are the least important. The number one driver of better habits comes down to designing your environments for success. Tell me that doesn't tell you what's in it right away, right? And I left intrigue. Like, what do you mean designing your environment? And then some people like aren't good at like transitions. So like one of the things I use all the time, I was like, you see, you probably don't. I forgot to put a comment here, but a lot of times I'll say like you see, or I'll say like so, or instead. So now imagine, for example, that's why. So the next time, like I use all these fucking, you just get good when you start practicing. I'm burning my Ben Settle Bible. Actually, the Ben Settle book's pretty good. It provides you, this is what I mean by like, oh man. So I take lessons from everyone, but I only take lessons that fit into what I think that person's good at. So early on when I was like talking to Andrew was like, yeah, Ben Settle is really good for XYZ thing. Kyle Milligan's really good for XYZ thing. So you just take elements of what that person's good at and you just ignore the rest. Like I know Kyle's not an email guy, so why am I gonna like take advice on emails from Kyle? Like he's a sales page guy, but he's really good at DIC. So when I want to like get better at DIC, I'm gonna look at his emails. And then same thing when I look at Ben Settles, like he's really good at dripping persuasion elements and deep elements of like entertaining people. But I don't think his whole emails are that good because all it is just entertaining you. So I take elements of things and I apply them to different layers. So I just take elements from everyone and I make my own shit. So anyways, I know I want to tell what's in it for me very early on. So I usually do that. I usually like tease something. So like, you see, so this is like a value email, right? Yeah, exactly. Daniel Throstle's emails are fucking trash for your people. Like they're fucking good and they're funny, but they're terrible when it comes to writing for clients. But you can take elements of that and add it to your own thing. He's good at like bridging conversations and like having good flow and like adding humor elements. So take what he's good at and add different elements into the way you write. Like, cool, I want to get better at adding different humor elements to my shit. Well, then I'll work on that and I'll like add him, but I'm not going to like write his emails how he does because I know that's not going to work for most people. But yeah, so I'm like, all right, you see, you probably don't realize this, but your environment plays a heavy role in determining how you act on a daily basis. Like over the years, you've been accustomed to acting and behaving in certain ways at different places. That makes it hard to break free of the hold these environments place on your behavior. I'll explain. And then I share, this is what I mean by value. I just was randomly thinking about this. I thought about this because I was talking to Jesse. So I just like wrote it down on my notepad to like come back and talk about this later. Like in the book, Atomic Habits by James Clear, he shares a story about a woman named Anne Thorndike, a primary care physician at blah, blah, blah. She believes she can improve the eating habits of thousands of hospital staff and visitors without changing their willpower and motivation. Now, before I go any farther, why do you think that I'm talking about this? Like, what's the reason for this email? Like, what belief am I trying to shift? Because I'm not just doing it for fun.
What's in it for them?
Well, yeah, put it in the chat. No, I'm not talking about the what's in it for them thing. I'm talking about like why am I making what's the point of me talking about this angle in the email? Like I'm talking about like most people falsely believe that building better habits comes in on willpower motivation. Like why am I talking about this? You can put in the chat if you want. I think you can see the screen, Daryl, if you scroll left or you swipe left or right. Partially, yeah. Maybe the habits because it's too hard. Sure, yeah. Partially, yeah. So the reason I'm talking about this is because I know, to make it simpler, just because the reader, yeah, part of it is what you're saying. So like, the reason I'm doing this is because I know that the motherfuckers who don't buy my shit are believe that like the reason they're not successful is because of like lack of motivation or lack of willpower. I know that's like a common objection for them. They're like, oh, I'm not successful because like I lack the motivation. So I'm like, yeah, fuck that belief. I'm going to destroy that shit. So that then the next time when I come later and I talk about like, or I even in this email where I like talk about like, to be successful, you actually just need this. It's really fucking simple. You just follow instructions or execute blah, blah, blah. So like, why do you think like Tate's emails did like got a lot of us to join? Because he's like, you don't have to think to become rich, bro. Like you think that like your thinking is helping you become rich. No, you just follow my instructions and execute. So you're like, oh, okay, I'll just follow what he says and execute. So then when you join, you do that. And so it's like the same thing. Like I know that like their belief is that like willpower and motivation is like holding them back. So I'm like, well, I'm going to destroy that while also providing them with value. So it's like a dual effect where I'm like building trust and credibility and value with my audience while also shifting beliefs. So yeah, so I'm like talking about the story, improve the eating habits. They didn't even try and like motivate them to eat healthy by berating with useless nutrition facts. As like I said, she altered the architecture of the hospital cafeteria. They started by changing how drinks were arranged in the room. Originally, the only place for drinks was a refrigerator. Started placing baskets of water next to every food station. Guess what happened? Over the next 3 months, the number of soda sales dropped by 11% and water increased by 25%. Crazy part was that none of the hostel staff even seemed to notice. You see, we often choose products not because we actually desire them, it's just because they're there. You walk into the kitchen, see a plate of cookies, naturally you want them, even if you didn't want them seconds earlier. I was like, your habits change depending on the room you're in and the cues in front of you. I was like, environment is invisible hand that shapes behavior. Like I was like, oh, that's a fucking good subject line. So I just like stole that shit. Now just think about your house for a second. Imagine how many habits and routines you develop that are years after living there for years. So before I go farther, you guys probably think this email is long, but it's only because of the way I structured this email. It's actually not that long. It's just I've been testing this out lately. This is something I got from like Alan Sultanich. Talks about how like there's been studies done that like if you look at like most newsletters or like real newspapers and shit, if you notice like most columns are written like this, it's really easy for you to read because it doesn't make your eyes drag all the way across the screen. So it's very like seamless. It feels like it's in one box and you can like read it really fast. So it's like an illusion that makes it feel like it's easy to read. So I've been like testing out this type of shit where you like have it indented way over. It's like a lot easier to read. Yeah. So anyways, yeah. So like there's specific cues that are ruining your chances of being productive and successful. So for example, when you're trying to be productive, your phone being in sight will trigger you to want to use it. It's also the reason you find it extremely easy to watch TV but not read a book. I was like, these cues spark a habit that are hidden. They're easy to ignore. That's why designing your environment in a way that is aligned with your biggest goals is important. So next time you believe you aren't motivated or lack will, see, like there's that. I was like, next time you believe you aren't motivated, just change your environment. And that basically was just like, if one of the habits you really want to implement is starting an online business, I'm here to help. We teach you how to like start a $10,000 per month business. Like, click here. But yeah, I mean, the whole email is like value email with like in the PS, I basically like pitch, but like even my value emails are like shifting some kind of belief. Like I'm not just like sending them random shit. It's not gonna like help me in any way.
How do you know when to send a value email versus just like you're trying to sell them a product?
I mean, there's no formula. It's not like I'm gonna like tell you a formula and you're gonna like. I don't know. I mean, I try to send like maybe one or two. I try to send like one or two value emails. I mean, it depends on the audience too. Like BizOp, I'm just gonna send that shit every day. Not value. I'm gonna send like a pitch every day because it's just like that's what everyone else is doing. But I'll probably send like one value type email a day. But this is where it kind of merges with what Ben Settle talks about. This is why I say like talk about taking different elements from different layers. Like I understand that every email I write has value dripped in it because I make them interesting and I make them like feel like they're getting value. Like in Ben Settle's book, he talks about how like how he used to have this river where he'd like fish in. It was like this dirty like river where probably like dead bodies floated in it and shit. Like that's how like dirty it was. And when they would go catfishing, they would like put a little bit of bait on the hook and they would like cast it out. And he talks about how like you don't just like throw a whole thing, like a whole giant fish on the hook and throw it out there because then you would never catch the actual catfish because it would just bite all the fish around and it never even find the hook. Whereas like when you put a little bit on there to where it feels like they got something from it and you cast it out there and then they get hooked, then you actually hook the fish. So the same thing goes for your emails, right? You don't just like provide so much value, like talk about so much stuff, like so much hard teaching that like that they never get hooked, but you also don't want to like give them so little that they don't actually get any bait. So you gotta like find the balance. Like I'll write one email like that where it's just like pure like value based with like a little pitch at the end, but like 5 or 6 of my emails out of the week are like pitches. But I mean, I'm not like thinking about it. I'm not like sitting down like, all right, let me like do one really hard pitch today, one soft pitch today. It's just like a flow. I just kind of go by what, because I write all my emails in one day. So I make it like a 7-day sequence. I try to like think about what logically just feels right, I guess. I mean, there's no formula for it. It's just kind of, you know, if I was to give you a formula, I would say you do one pure value email with a pitch in the PS or no pitch at all. And then I basically do one hard pitch to every 2 or 3. So if I was writing like 7 emails for the week, I'd do one value, 2 hard pitches, and the rest would be like, so the 4 would be like soft pitches. And by soft pitches, I mean like they have value dripped throughout it. Like it feels like there's value. And I'm not like, it's hard to explain. I mean, like this one, like why pursuing your passion is bad advice. Like I'm giving value because I'm giving them value. Like people are hooked on this idea about following your passion, which sounds really cool. But when you get tossed in the real world, it's a fairy tale, the stress of the world weighing down upon you. Oh shit, I need to pay money. Before long, you're like, oh shit, I need to survive. Like it feels like there's value in this because I'm giving you advice about like why this is a bad way of viewing the world. So this would be considered to me like a soft, semi-soft pitch, but like I'm not like cranking the pain or the, you know, like this one I would say is more of a hard pitch because I do kind of crank I use a lot of the elements of like cranking things in here and a lot of imagery. So this is like more of like a rough pitch, whereas like some other ones I don't. Necessary tools to shift your life into overdrive. This is like a Instagram post. So this is what I mean by sometimes I'll test like a pure intrigue where like you don't know what the hell, like zero juice left in the squeeze. That's what I mean. Like every once in a while I'll test one of these. I barely ever do them. Like while everyone's distracted, here's the best opportunity. That one's all right. It probably could be better. And again, like sometimes you're gonna look back and be like, damn, I could probably do better. Like you're not gonna always hit it out the park, man. Like sometimes you're just gonna be like, damn, what the fuck was I thinking? That was terrible. The worst thing to do during recessions, money sucks, not this one thing, advanced forms of procrastination, the newest cheat code for wild success, drop shipping resurrected from the dead. long forgotten lesson from Rocky 3. The key to turning your life around for better. Like a lot of them, I keep them very like they know what they're gonna get. Majority of these. Occasionally, I'll drip in like these like this, like advanced forms of procrastination. The average seller on Shopify makes how much? Like this is what I mean by like more like this is one where it's like more hard pitching with less like real value. I'm just kind of like, did you know the medium Shopify store does 15,000 per month in sales, 22% profits? That means thousands of people are making extra $3,000 per month per store. I think we can create an extra $3,000 in your bank every month, be spectacular. There's not a lot of value in this. It's just kind of like straight up just telling you what's up. Then I share like testimonials. I'm like, yeah, best part, they're kind of doing this with only a few hours. And I like click here to watch. Like it's, I mean, it's hard, man. At the end of the day, like you're just there's no formula. And like that's what like real marketers do, that there's no formula. You just kind of guess, and you're just throwing shit out there and you're just finding out. And the more data you get back, the more you're like, okay, my audience really likes this angle. I'm going to lean more into this in some of my emails. They really like this angle. You know, this gets the most sales. We're going to hit on fear more because they really react to fear well. I'm not going to like overdo it. But yeah.
I have a question.
I have.
Oh, go ahead, bro.
No, I actually have an observation, and I think it was like 2 emails back that you did that I found really effective. You set yourself up as the authority. Obviously, you're giving them information, you're pitching them, but you also, and this is in How to Win Friends and Influence People, like there is a strong amount of empathy for their situation. And I mean specifically with regards to like your boss is going to fire you, the pandemic should have shown you that X, Y, and Z. And I think that was effective, because then you can, when you've built that trust, at least this is what I felt, then you can come and say you're fucking up, or you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. This is what you should be doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like that was really effective. And then you peppered in sort of like, but don't worry about it. Like, I got you. This is what the solution looks like, or could potentially look like. So
yeah,
that was really strong. And I'm glad that you showed us that, because I always struggled with, I'd sort of jump from one extreme to the other. So it was good to see that, because I'm really affected by the Tate stuff. But I said it to Andrew, I was like, 99% of the population doesn't respond to those emails. We respond to it because we have this, right. Like we have the psychological makeup to respond to it and then do something about it. But most people just, they don't. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it's good for us to share these things, like to share like, you know, what I'm doing and how I'm writing, because I do see a lot of the people and even experience chats, like there's so much on one spectrum or the other where it's like you can just feel like some of the emails have like no substance, but then like some of the emails have way too much, and it's just like hard teaching way too much. Like it's a fine balance, and you're never gonna like get it perfect. Like my emails aren't perfect. There's plenty of things I'm sure you guys saw that could be improved, and that's fine. But it just takes like learning different lessons and just trying different things and applying and just seeing what sounds good. Like at the end of the day, I try and just think like, does this sound good to me? Does this somewhat sound good? Like, would this somewhat convince me? What else I need to add in here? How can I make this like more? How can I add like more imagery into this? How can I add like the different lessons that I've learned from other people or whatever? And just the more you immerse yourself in like copywriting, like reading lots of copy and just like learning different lessons, you're gonna learn stuff. Like that whole like where I say like UC a lot, like I got that from like somebody on Instagram who like says that in like almost every one of their posts. I'm like, oh, it's really good. Because I always wonder like how to like expand upon a point. Because like sometimes I want to expand upon a point, but I never know how to say it. So like now like I say a point, I'm like, you see, and I'm like, oh, it's so fucking good. So I use that shit all the time now. So like you're just gonna learn like little things here and there, and you're gonna be like, oh, cool, I'm gonna use that now. And then like a lot of the stuff you guys just learned today, you're gonna go and use, and then there's gonna be different lessons that all of you picked up from this call that you're now going to use. And then when you use it, you're going to give feedback to someone else in experience chat that maybe didn't catch that part of the lesson. And then they're going to use that, and they're going to give you feedback on something that you missed. And then it's just like how you grow. But
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, yeah, you said, bruh, you said so much insightful stuff. I just want to see if I can clarify certain things. So I really like when you said in your emails you basically building trust and providing value at the same time. It's like you said you do, so I can kind of see why you say you don't just want to dunk the head underwater. You kind of what do you call it, crank into it or crank it up or something. Step
Yeah.
by step. Yeah, objection by objection. And you really get them to follow along with you and believe you that that's so valuable. They already trust you because you're showing them a better way, like how Tate does to us. Call us out, no dumbass, or the way you do it. You see, it's like there's a lot going on, but
No, I feel you, bro. That's how I was when I would learn this shit. I'm like, damn, man. Like, bro, I would, the way y'all are feeling right now is exactly how I felt every time. I'm like, damn, man, I've fucked up all my emails. I'm fucking, what the hell was I been doing this whole time? Like, pretty much every week or two, bro, I'd learn some shit. I'm like, what the was I doing before? Like, how did anyone buy anything that I ever wrote? Like, this is awful.
It's like,
what
how the fuck did I make sales? Like what?
Bro, that's how I felt like pretty much every week or two. I was just like, what the, like, god damn it, like I'm terrible. Like that's just the life of a copywriter. You're gonna be like, damn, like that, what the hell? Like I missed so many elements here. Like, what the heck? Like it's just something that you just deal with and you're just like, whatever. Like I only knew what I knew at the time. As long as I'm a few steps ahead of my guru, it's all that matters.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think the big thing for you guys is just like I put that email list there, but try and find other people in the industry that aren't necessarily marketing, because like marketing is a weird niche. Because like you're selling to other marketers. You got to find like other niches that aren't marketers. Like one that's really good is like Tim Sanders. I don't know how to get on his list, but just looking at different BizOp offers. Let's see. And just exposing yourself to, I mean, dude, like watching different VSLs is like really good. Damn, how do I get on this thing?
How long have you been doing copywriting for?
So I mean, technically I started like 3 years ago, but so I worked for a guy for like a year, but that guy taught me like nothing. Like imagine how you are now, except I didn't know what swiping was. I didn't know what like other marketers was. I wasn't looking at anything, bro. I was just writing fucking the most random shit ever. I was like hard teaching on like every email because I didn't fucking know anything about like, dude, I didn't know anything about like DIC or Intrigue or not. I knew none of that, bro. I wrote for that dude for a year. And he just like never had time to give me feedback because he was so busy. But what I did learn was like how to structure offers, how to like do launch sequences, how to like write or how to like use ads, how to like make funnel pages. Like I learned everything from like high level. So I learned a lot of like conversion rate optimization and like shit like that. Like in terms of copywriting, I didn't learn very much. So then like I left after like a year because I was making like easily paying me like $1,000 a month, like which was fucking terrible. I was basically an intern, which for me at the time was fine because I was like learning so much. But I was like, whatever. And then I basically left because I was like burned out, took a year off, and then I basically like started doing some other stuff. And then basically like 6, 7 months ago, I found Huskers University, and that's when I started copywriting for real. And I learned like actual formulas. I learned like what swiping was, and like, yeah, that's when I learned everything. I just like, yeah. So I tell people like realistically, I've probably been writing for about a year of like actual seriousness. Like I don't really count those first times. Like that taught me more about like funnel stuff, but it didn't really teach me much about like copy. It taught me how to write with like flow. Like I learned how to like write with flow, and because I didn't learn any damn templates or anything, so I just had to learn how to write in a way that sounded good, but it wasn't actually good. But at least I learned how to write with flow, which was like super helpful. But yeah.
You think this is something maybe we could do on a more regular basis, man? This is really valuable.
Yeah, for sure. Right now I'm doing I have this like 8-week mentorship that I'm doing for another coach. It's like this mastermind I'm in does this like 8-week mentorship for like beginner copywriters or like intermediate copywriters who want to learn how to like write with structure and just learn the basics of everything. And so I got paid to do that, and like I'm doing that, and that ends. I'm on week 6. I have a call tonight at like 30 minutes. I'm on week 6, so there's 2 more weeks. Like after that, I'll have a lot more time to do these calls. But right now, I can't because I have to like, I literally have to jump on a call with like 20 people, go through a whole thing, and I have to like give feedback on all their copy. It's like fucking, it's time consuming as hell. But after that, I'll be able to do it. But dude, that's also how I got really good too. Is just like teaching this thing has been like really helpful because bro, I've had like mad feelings of like being a fraud and like I don't know, like imposter syndrome. Like, man, I like freak out every time. Like, oh man, I don't know what to do. Like, because it's not just about emails, like how to write Facebook ads, how to write sales pages, how to do like a lot of different things that like I don't really do a lot of at the moment. So like I know enough to like teach a beginner, but I don't know enough to like teach a lot. But yeah, I get like, so like teaching people has like helped me learn a lot. That's why I was saying like getting in like cohorts of people together and just like jumping on calls with each other and like brainstorming is going to help you guys a lot. Like don't just be stuck in a silo by yourself. Like I'm telling you, it's really going to help you a lot. Just like talk with other people. Like I talk with a lot of people all the time in here and just like give feedback and I give help. I view everything as win-win. And I tell this to the new people. You guys probably understand this already, but like I tell new people all the time, like they're like, man, I haven't got a client yet. Like this is annoying. I send all these emails, it's a waste of time. I'm like, bro, I never viewed it like that. I was always like, oh, cool. I get to like send emails. I have to write anyways, and I want to get better. If they don't like it, then I got to learn. Like, cool. Same thing goes for like when I'm teaching other people. At first, I was like, oh man, I don't want to like do all these reviews. Because at first, when I first joined, I did like no reviews. Like I didn't review anybody's stuff until Andrew was like, bro, you're an idiot. Like that's how you learn a lot. And I was like, oh, okay. so I started doing it. And now I view everything as like a way to learn. Like doing this call, you could argue like, you know, I'm wasting 2-3 hours of my life when I could just go do something else. But I'm not, because like by teaching you guys, I'm like solidifying these lessons in my mind. So the more that you do that with other people, the more you're gonna like solidify certain lessons and you're gonna like grow as a copywriter. So just view everything as like a way to get better and a way to learn, and it will make everything so much more enjoyable, and you'll just start viewing everything as a win-win, and it just helps a lot.
And also because we're experienced and we're improving by reviewing people's copy, we're gonna pass on a lot of the knowledge anyways. So it's really good.
But yeah, we'll look at like 1 or 2 more, and then oh man, I don't know why it's formatted like this. I like mess this up. Oh whoops, I have it first. Damn, it's highlighting trading. It's really annoying. All right, cool. Cool. So I'm like, most traders believe the key to success is following some magic indicator. So a lot of my emails start out like this. Like I try to hit them with like a belief that they believe. And I'm basically like, that's not real. Most traders believe the key to success is following some magical indicator, technical analysis pattern, or formula, when in reality, none of that actually matters. It's the overemphasis on these things that cause 90% of traders to fail time and time again. So I basically just took, this is when I wrote that ad, this is kind of where I got a lot of this from, because like I wrote that ad and I was like, oh, it's actually a really good email. So I like kind of chopped it into I repurposed it basically. So I'm like, it's focusing on way too many things at once that cause traders confusion in the live markets. I'm like, heavy emphasis on this. All this is causing me to overcomplicate the trading process. What allowed me to quit my job was simplicity. So usually I don't share like I keep the intrigue up until like a few sentences in. And that's when I reveal the lesson. So it's hard to learn how to do this. You gotta like practice like how to like intrigue them enough, but it doesn't feel like what Stefan calls it throat clearing. Like you're like, let me clear my throat before I speak. So some people do that and they just like write useless shit here, and then they'll like start talking. It's like you don't want to throat clear. You want to like not just write dumb stuff here and then start talking. You want to like have some intrigue and value here. So like there needs to be substance behind it. And then
You
I'll
want to
kind
be
of
you want to be
what the lesson
efficient
is.
with every line you use.
Yeah. Because like I don't want to just like immediately be like complexity is the death of your trading. Like, you know, what allows me to become a good trader is like simplicity. It's like, well, then there's no intrigue in it. Like there needs to be some intrigue. So I do that, and then I'm like, I strip back all the nonsense. You see, I knew billions of dollars were moving through the market on a daily basis. I just need to figure out how it was happening. I knew the trading charts had everything, had all the information I could ever need. So I stopped blindly following the masses, ditched this. Then I noticed the hidden language. See, like you don't notice it when you cover up a tons of indicators, but when you strip everything back, start to see beneath the surface. I always tell my students it's like learning a foreign language. Take some time to learn the language, but once you do, it never goes away. Keep it simple. You can finally get rid of this, skyrocket, quickly escape the boom and bust. You remember that from the ad. There's a reason at one point in my journey, I was trading 8 figures worth of investment. There's a reason why my students go on to become fully funded. So like credibility, because at the end of the day, investors crave strategies that are simple, proven, reliable. They don't care about you flipping a little $100 account, basically trashing on all these other people. So if you're ready to learn a strategy that actually has investors fighting tooth and nail, I guess you guys can look at my sales page if you want. So a trading veteran of 16 years reveals underground strategy, the new error-free trading system that outsmarts flawed human nature and eliminates self-sabotaging dodging behaviors. The truth about how everyday Forex traders make 217% gains and secure over $100,000 investing. The reason I say this and not like amount per month, because it depends on how much money you're trading with, as well as I really don't want to get fucking slapped by the FTC or the SEC or whatever the fuck by making claims. You have to care about the claims you make. And yeah, I just go into this shit. But yeah, so I don't know, I'm getting tired now, but anyways, you get the point. So yeah, basically I try and just do different things, but yeah. But yeah, the more you read good copy, man, the more you're gonna like see different ways that people the more you read good copy, the more you're going to see ways that people go about telling different lessons or different stories and sharing different things. The more you do that, the more you're just going to learn how to do it yourself. But it just takes looking at a lot of copy and looking at good copy, looking at sales. Don't just look at emails, look at different sales pages. And yeah. Trying to think, there was a way that I find sales pages, but I'm trying to remember how.
Like ClickFunnels or something.
No, it's I mean, usually it happens when you're on a bunch of different lists, like these like fucking health promotion lists. Once you can get on them by looking at that email list I sent you. But a lot of them will like do what's called like cross promotions, where they'll be like Dr. whoever will get tired of sending the same promotion they have, so they'll send shit from other fucking all these doctors are fucking shitty, dude. They all just like cross promote like crazy. Like they'll just be like, hey, my doctor friend has this thing that he's like talking about how to like remove foot fungus or whatever, and you like click on the thing and it takes you to a sales page. And a lot of those health promotion sales pages are like really good. They almost always start with some fucking like deep story. You're going to learn, like, the more you read those pages, you're going to learn how to like have like visualizations in your copy. You're going to learn how to like add different persuasion elements, how to talk about different pain points, how to like share different stories. You're going to learn a lot from that. And then just reading more forums of people that are in your that specific niche. So if it's a certain niche, just like read the language of how people talk. Like, bro, the other day I was looking at I was looking on Reddit at like anti-work. I don't know if you ever like read that fucking forum, but like anti-work is this thing where people complain about how their employer like treats them like shit, and how it's really annoying that like the minimum wage is like X amount and like they should make more, and it's annoying that these corporations like make a bunch of money while they make like nothing and they're treated like slaves. Like I'll read that shit and I'll like read because like I'm in a biz op, I sell e-commerce, so like that's a biz op offer. Like I teach people how to get out of their job. So I'll like go on there and like read the language of like how they talk. which helps me to understand the problems of like what they're feeling. I'm not gonna lie, when you come out of it, you're like, you start feeling fucking depressed. You're just like, what the fuck, like holy shit. So you have to like remember who you are, and like you got to get good at like coming back out of it. But like, yeah, bro, after that, I'm like, man, fuck these corporations, man. They're like fucking exposing people. Like the fucking Matrix is shit. Like, I'm like, wait a second, fucking complaining is gonna do literally nothing. So like I snapped out of it after a second, but like, bro, when you start reading this shit, you're gonna feel like crap because like, dude, their energy and their language just like comes on to you, and you're like, what the fuck? Like when you read about like fucking weight loss, you're like, man, losing weight's so hard. Like you're gonna like believe that shit for a minute, and you're like, wait a second, no, it's not. These people are just fucking retarded. But yeah, that'll help you like get immersed and stuff. But yeah, the other thing too is like remembering the difference between what is like what I call a churn and burn list and like a guru list. Churn and burn lists are like these people pay tons of money to have their list built through like ads or through like they'll pay other people to cross promote their offer. So they don't really give a shit about you. It's just like very like fear driven, like quick, punchy, like persuasive copy that just like tries to get you to click and to go to the sales page and buy. Like they don't give anything about you. Whereas like guru copy or like people you're mostly going to write for are more like you have to build like value and credibility and share lessons. So when you look at that copy, don't like try and mimic it, but take lessons from it and that's what I mean by taking elements of different things. Like I'm like, oh, well, they're really good at cranking intrigue and cranking like specific points. Like there's just one email called like the let me find it. Hold on. It's like they call it the Windex trick for clearer vision. I'm like, damn, that's fucking genius. Because everyone can like visualize Windex like cleaning a window and becoming really clear. So like, oh, Windex trick for clearer vision. Like, what the hell? Like that's like, man, that offer has been running for a long time. But that tells you how to like write interesting, intriguing, unique mechanisms, right? So now you can like take that and apply it to your own offer.
How is Hustlers University $50 a month?
Dude, I don't know.